Hello, I'm so glad to be here with you tonight. Before we begin, let's find a really comfortable position for yourself. Maybe you're lying in bed, or perhaps reclining on a sofa. Wherever you are, let your body rest completely. If you like, close your eyes, or if you prefer, you can keep them gently open, gazing at some distant, blurry point. Now let's breathe together. Breathe in deeply through your nose. Slowly, there's no rush. Feel the cool air flowing into your lungs, and then breathe out through your mouth, slowly letting all the tension in your body dissolve with your breath. Let's try that once more. Breathe in deeply, hold for a moment, and breathe out long and slow. Very good. Now let your shoulders drop down. Sometimes we don't realize we've been holding our shoulders tight all day long. Let them fall naturally. Release your neck. Release your jaw. You can even let your mouth open slightly if that feels more comfortable. Feel your arms becoming heavy, your legs too heavy and weighted as if sinking into the mattress. Everything is allowed to be heavy. You don't need to hold anything. Tonight we're going to explore a very special world together, a world that's very close to us, but often overlooked. It's the world of mushrooms. These small beings live quietly in the forest, beneath the canopy of leaves, beside ancient tree trunks, or sometimes hidden completely under the moist soil. We'll walk through stories about mushrooms, gentle facts easy to listen to, nothing stressful. You don't need to remember anything at all. You don't need to concentrate too hard. Just let this voice stay beside you, like a friend whispering interesting things in your ear. If somewhere along the way you drift off, or even fall asleep, that's completely fine. In fact, that's the most wonderful thing that could happen. These stories are in no hurry. There's nothing to worry about. Only peaceful images of the forest, of life unfolding slowly, gradually, at its own pace. Imagine you're lying on a soft bed of moss in the forest. The day is drawing to a close. Sunlight filters through the leaves, creating gentle golden streaks. The air is cool, smelling of earth and leaves. Everything is quiet, and there you are, completely safe. There's nothing you need to do, nowhere you need to be. Just this moment, just this peaceful rest. The world of mushrooms is waiting for us. A world without hurry, without noise. A world that simply exists in the most gentle way possible. So, take one more deep breath with me. In through your nose, and out, letting go of anything you don't need anymore. Good. Let's begin our journey. Beneath your feet, right now there exists a world you've never seen. A world of threads, so fine, so delicate, that they're invisible to your eyes. These are the mycelium, the quiet architects of the forest floor. Imagine threads of silk, finer than a strand of hair, spreading through the dark soil, white as moonlight, soft as whispers. They move so slowly through the earth that you could never catch them growing, even if you watched for hours. There's no hurry in their journey, no rush to reach anywhere, just a patient, gentle spreading, day after day, night after night. When you see a mushroom rising from the forest floor, what you're really seeing is just a tiny part of something much, much larger. Think of it like this. If the mushroom were a flower, then the mycelium would be the entire plant roots and all stretching far beneath the surface. The mushroom is simply the fruit, the visible gift that the hidden network below has decided to offer to the world above. But below, in the darkness, In the cool embrace of soil, the real life of the fungus continues. Miles and miles of these delicate threads weave through the earth. They wrap around pebbles. They slide between grains of sand. They dance with the roots of trees in a partnership so ancient, so fundamental, that neither could truly thrive without the other. The mycelium doesn't grow quickly. It takes its time. Sometimes months pass as it extends just a little further, reaching out in all directions like fingers exploring in the dark. There's something deeply calming about this pace. In a world that constantly demands speed, the mycelium reminds us that slow progress is still progress, that patience has its own quiet power. These threads are creating something remarkable beneath the soil. They're building a network, a living internet that connects tree to tree plant to plant across the entire forest. Through this network, an old tree can send nutrients to its young saplings. A healthy tree can share resources with a sick neighbor. Messages travel through the mycelium chemical, conversations that we're only beginning to understand. It's a language without words, a communication without sound, just a gentle exchange of minerals, sugars, and information flowing back and forth through these gossamer threads. The forest talks to itself through the mycelium, sharing news of drought, of abundance, of danger, of opportunity. And all of this happens in complete silence. No noise, no urgency, just the steady, reliable presence of these networks always there, always working, always connecting. Picture yourself now lying on a bed of soft moss in a quiet forest. The moss is cool beneath you, slightly damp, cushioning your body perfectly. Above you, leaves filter the fading daylight into a gentle green glow. The air smells of earth and growing things. Beneath this moss, beneath this soil, where you rest, the mycelium is there. Billions of delicate threads forming an intricate web. They're supporting you in a way. They're part of the ground that holds you. They're processing the fallen leaves, the dead wood, turning everything back into nourishment for the forest. You don't need to see them to know they're there. You don't need to understand exactly how they work. You can simply rest in the knowledge that beneath you, life is happening. Quiet life, patient life, life that knows that everything happens in its own time. The mycelium doesn't worry. It doesn't stress about growing faster or reaching further. It simply does what it does day after day with a consistency that's almost meditative. Each tiny thread extends just a little bit more. Each connection strengthens just a little bit more. And together, over time, they create something vast and beautiful and essential. There's something you can learn from this, though you don't need to think about it too hard right now. Just let the idea settle gently in your mind. The idea that slow, steady growth is enough. That patient, consistent effort, even when invisible to others, creates networks of support and strength. That you don't always need to see the results immediately to know that something valuable is being built. But those are just thoughts floating by like clouds. You don't need to hold on to them. Just like the mycelium, you can let things flow, let things connect naturally without force. Feel your body sinking a little deeper into comfort. Imagine those threads beneath you, holding the earth together, creating pathways, building connections. So much happening in such quiet, so much strength in such gentleness. The mycelium has been doing this for hundreds of millions of years. Long before humans walked the earth, these networks were spreading through ancient soils, connecting ancient plants. They've seen ice ages come and go. They've felt forests rise and fall. And through it all, they've continued their slow, patient work. There's a timelessness to this that's deeply restful. The mycelium isn't worried about yesterday or tomorrow. It simply exists in the eternal, now doing what it was born to do without question, without doubt. And you can rest in that same timelessness. Right here, right now, you're connected to something ancient and ongoing. The same earth that holds the mycelium holds you. The same patience that guides their growth can guide your rest. Let your breathing slow to match the pace of the mycelium. So slow you can barely feel it happening. Let your thoughts spread out and dissolve, like those delicate threads losing their sharp edges, becoming soft and diffuse. You're safe here, supported by the earth, connected to everything, whether you realize it or not. The mycelium knows this, and now perhaps you're beginning to feel it too. Rest now. Let the network hold you. Let the quiet work of the earth continue beneath you while you drift into deeper peace. There's something beautiful about mushrooms that sets them apart from almost every other living thing you know. They don't need the sun. They don't reach for the light. They don't depend on those golden rays that plants spend their entire lives chasing. Mushrooms live in darkness, and they're perfectly content there, while trees stretch toward the sky and flowers turn their faces to follow the sun's path across the heavens. Mushrooms settle into the shadows. They make their homes in the cool, dark places of the world, under logs, beneath leaf litter, in the deepest parts of caves where sunlight has never, will never touch. And they thrive there in that gentle darkness. Imagine a cave deep underground, the kind of place where darkness isn't just the absence of light, but a presence of its own, thick and complete. In these caves, where no ray of sunshine has penetrated since the stone first formed millions of years ago, mushrooms grow. They emerge from the cave walls, from the damp floor, small and pale and perfect. They don't know what they're missing because they're not missing anything at all. They have everything they need right there in the darkness. The moisture in the air, the minerals in the stone, the organic matter slowly breaking down around them. This is how mushrooms live, not by creating energy from light like plants do, but by finding it in what's already there. They're nature's recyclers, her quiet transformers. They take the fallen, the finished, the forgotten, and they break it down. A dead leaf becomes food. A rotting log becomes nourishment. What once was a tree becomes the foundation for new life. There's no rush in this process, no urgency. A mushroom might spend weeks, months slowly dissolving the wood beneath it, releasing nutrients, molecule by molecule. It's patient work, silent work, the kind of work that happens when no one is watching, when no one is keeping score. In the darkness, the mushroom doesn't compete. It doesn't need to grow taller than its neighbors to catch more light. It doesn't need to spread its leaves wider or push its roots deeper into sunny soil. It simply exists where it is doing what it does, without comparison, without struggle. There's something deeply peaceful about this way of being, something we might all benefit from remembering, that life doesn't always have to be about reaching higher, shining brighter, being more visible. Sometimes life can be quiet, hidden, content in the shadows. The darkness that mushrooms love isn't empty or sad. It's full of possibility, of transformation, of the slow magic of decay and renewal. In the darkness, away from the glare and heat of the sun, things can rest. They can break down gently. They can become something new without anyone demanding to see the process. Think about the forest floor at night. All the animals that spent the day in hiding come out to move through the darkness. Owls hunt, foxes prowl, and mushrooms, though they don't move, are just as active in their own way. Their mycelium spreads through the soil. Their enzymes work on breaking down organic matter. Their spores wait for the right moment to drift away on the breeze. All of this happens in darkness. All of this happens in quiet, and it's not less important than what happens in the light. It's just different. Another way of being alive. When you lie down to sleep, you're choosing darkness too. You're turning away from the light, pulling curtains closed, switching off lamps. You're creating the conditions that allow your body and mind to do their own quiet work of restoration and renewal. Just like the mushroom, you don't need light to do this important work. In fact, you need the darkness. You need the stillness. You need the absence of visual stimulation, the gentle embrace of shadow. The mushroom teaches us that darkness isn't something to fear or avoid. It's a natural part of the cycle. It's necessary. It's where certain kinds of growth happen. The kind of growth that doesn't need to be seen or celebrated. The kind of growth that simply is. As you rest here now, you can appreciate your own darkness. The darkness behind your closed eyelids. The darkness of the room around you. The darkness of the night outside your window. All of it is holding you, allowing you to rest, giving you permission to stop performing, stop reaching, stop striving. In the darkness, you can just be, like the mushroom in its cave, like the mycelium spreading unseen through the forest floor. You can exist without needing to prove anything, without needing to be visible or impressive or productive. The mushroom doesn't apologize for living in shadows. It doesn't wish it were a sunflower or a rose. It knows its place in the world. It knows the value of what it does even if no one sees it happening, even if no one applauds. Let yourself sink deeper into this darkness now. Let it wrap around you like a soft blanket, cool and gentle. There's no pressure here, no expectations. The darkness asks nothing of you except that you rest. Feel how your breathing slows in this darkness, how your thoughts become less sharp, less demanding, how everything softens at the edges. This is the gift of darkness. This is what the mushroom knows. You don't need to reach for anything right now. You don't need to grow toward any light. You can simply settle into where you are, into the quiet dark, and let the natural processes of rest and renewal take over. The mushroom has been doing this for hundreds of millions of years, thriving in darkness, growing in shadow, finding abundance in places others would call empty, and it will continue doing this long after we're gone, patient and persistent and perfectly content. Tonight, you can be like the mushroom. You can embrace the darkness. You can rest in the knowledge that not everything needs to be seen to be valuable. Not everything needs light to grow. Some things grow best in the gentle dark. And right now, as you drift towards sleep, you're one of them. Let the darkness hold you. Let it work its quiet magic. Let yourself dissolve into it the way a mushroom dissolves a fallen leaf, slowly, gently, completely. There's nothing to fear here, only rest, only peace. only the soft, endless dark, where all things are renewed. In some forests, on the darkest nights, magic happens. When the moon hides behind clouds and the stars seem impossibly far away, tiny lights begin to glow on the forest floor. These aren't fireflies. They aren't reflections or tricks of tired eyes. They're mushrooms glowing softly in the darkness. Imagine walking through a tropical forest after sunset. The air is warm and thick with moisture. The sounds of day have faded into the quieter songs of night, and there scattered across a fallen log are dozens of small lights, green-blue like tiny stars that fell to earth and decided to stay. These bioluminescent mushrooms create their own light through a gentle chemical reaction inside their cells. It's a cold light, nothing like the heat of fire or the harshness of electric bulbs, just a soft, steady glow that asks nothing of you, doesn't demand your attention, simply offers itself to the darkness. The light they produce is incredibly gentle. If you cupped one in your hands, you'd see a faint glow seeping between your fingers, but it wouldn't be bright enough to read by. It's not meant for work or productivity. It's just light for the sake of being light, existing because it can, beautiful because it is. Scientists think these mushrooms might glow to attract insects that help spread their spores. Or perhaps the light serves some other purpose we haven't discovered yet. Nature keeps some secrets, even from our most sophisticated instruments, and there's something comforting about that. Not everything needs to be explained or understood. Some things can simply be appreciated. The honey fungus is one species that glows this way. During the day, it looks ordinary, unremarkable even. Small, pale mushrooms clustered on rotting wood. But when darkness falls completely, when every other light has faded, they reveal their secret. They begin to shine. The glow doesn't flicker like a candle flame. It doesn't pulse or change. It's steady as breathing, constant as a heartbeat. You could sit beside these glowing mushrooms for hours, and they'd never startle you with sudden brightness or fade into unexpected darkness. They're reliable in their gentleness. Imagine yourself there now, sitting cross-legged on soft earth, your back against a tree trunk. The night is complete around you, but it's not frightening, because scattered across the forest floor are these small lights. Dozens of them, maybe hundreds, each one glowing with that same soft green-blue luminescence. You don't need a flashlight here. The mushrooms provide just enough light to see the outline of trees, the shape of leaves, the contours of the path ahead. It's light for finding your way without rushing, light for sitting peacefully, light for dreaming while awake. The air is still. The forest is quiet, except for the occasional rustle of some small creature moving through undergrowth, and the mushrooms glow, unpatient and persistent. They've been glowing like this every night for who knows how long. They'll continue glowing every night for who knows how much longer. There's no urgency in their light, no anxiety. They're not trying to be brighter than each other, not competing for your gaze. Each one simply does what it does, adding its small glow to the darkness, making the night a little less absolute. This is the kind of light you could fall asleep beside, not the harsh light that keeps you alert and wakes you up, but the kind that soothes, that reminds you darkness isn't empty or frightening, that shows you just enough without overwhelming your senses. Think of this light as a companion rather than a tool. It's not there to help you accomplish anything. It's just there being present with you in the darkness, sharing the night, making it a little more gentle, a little more welcoming. As you rest now, you can imagine one of these glowing mushrooms beside your bed, small and unobtrusive, giving off just enough light to remind you you're not alone, that even in darkness there can be gentle illumination, that nature has provided soft lights for soft nights. Let that image settle into your mind, the cool green-blue glow, the steady, unwavering quality of it. How peaceful it would be to have such a light nearby, not demanding anything, not trying to wake you up or keep you alert, just glowing softly while you rest. Your breathing can match the constancy of that glow, steady, unchanging, neither growing brighter nor fading darker, just a gentle rhythm that continues on and on, reliable as the earth itself. The bioluminescent mushrooms don't worry about when to turn off their light. They don't wonder if they're glowing enough or too much. They simply are what they are doing, what they do, in the most natural way possible. And you can be that way too right now, not trying to be more awake or more asleep, not forcing anything, just being here in this moment with whatever light or darkness surrounds you, accepting it all with the same peaceful acceptance that mushrooms have for the night. Let the image of those glowing mushrooms stay with you as you drift deeper, their light growing softer in your mind, not disappearing, just receding gently, still there if you need them, still glowing in some quiet corner of your awareness, but mostly just letting you rest, letting you sink into the welcoming darkness, knowing that even there, even in the deepest dark, small lights exist. Patient lights, kind lights, lights that ask nothing and give everything. Sleep now with that gentle glow in your heart. Let it carry you down into dreams as soft as mushroom light. Beneath the forest, where roots reach down into darkness, a quiet partnership exists. Trees and mushrooms living together in a relationship so ancient that neither remembers a time without the other. They don't make announcements about this friendship, don't celebrate anniversaries or mark milestones. They simply exist together, helping each other day after day, year after year. The mycelium wraps gently around tree roots, interweaving with them like fingers clasping in a handshake that never ends. Through this connection, the mushroom extends the tree's reach. Where roots can't go, the delicate fungal threads can. They slip between soil particles, explore tiny spaces, find water and minerals in places the tree could never access alone. And in return, the tree shares. It takes sunlight, that bright energy from above, and through the miracle of photosynthesis, turns it into sugars. Some of these sugars flow down through the trunk, through the roots, and into the mycelium, a gift freely given. Food for the friend who lives in darkness and cannot make its own. No one forces this exchange. No contracts are signed. No debts are tallied. It simply happens naturally because both benefit, because life is easier when you don't have to do everything alone, because partnership, quiet and unspoken, makes survival not just possible, but graceful. Picture an old pine forest. The trees stand tall, their trunks thick with centuries of growth. The air smells of resin and earth. Sunlight filters down in golden shafts. And beneath every tree invisible to casual observers, mycelial networks spread and connect. These mushroom threads don't just link one tree to its fungal partner. They connect tree to tree to tree, creating a vast underground network that joins the entire forest into one living, communicating whole. Through this network, trees can share resources. A tree growing in shadow, struggling to photosynthesize enough food, might receive extra sugars from its sun-drenched neighbor through the fungal pathways. The mushrooms act as intermediaries, as messengers, as the postal service of the forest floor. They carry nutrients, water, even chemical signals from one tree to another, warning signals about insect attacks, information about drought or plenty, all of it flowing through the mycelium in a language of molecules and minerals. Sometimes when an old tree knows its time is ending, when storms have weakened it, or disease has taken hold, it does something remarkable. It begins to send its remaining resources through the fungal network to younger trees nearby. Its stored nutrients, its accumulated sugars, everything it won't need anymore. A final gift to the next generation. This happens in silence. No words, no ceremony. Just the quiet transfer of life from the old to the young, facilitated by the mushrooms that have served as silent partners all along. It's a kind of farewell, a way of saying that even in ending, there's giving, that nothing is ever truly lost, only transformed and passed on. There's something deeply comforting in knowing this happens, that beneath the forest floor and the dark soil, where we can't see trees, are taking care of each other, that the mushrooms make this care possible, that none of them are alone, even when they appear to stand solitary. You're not alone either. Even when you feel isolated, even when the world seems too vast and you too small, you're part of networks you can't see. Connections exist between you and others, subtle as mycelium, strong as tree roots. You give and receive in ways you might not even notice. Small kindnesses you've offered have rippled outward. Support you've received has come from unexpected sources. The forest doesn't announce these connections. The trees don't gather to discuss their interdependence. They simply live it quietly every moment of every day. And you can rest in that same quiet knowing that you're held in a web of relationships, that you support and are supported, that giving and receiving flow naturally when you stop trying to control them. As you lie here now, imagine roots beneath you, extending down into the earth, and wrapped around them, mycelium, soft and white, and infinitely patient. Feel yourself connected to something larger through these invisible threads, not separate, not isolated, but part of an ancient system of mutual care. Your breath flows in and out like nutrients through mycelium, regular, rhythmic, necessary. You don't have to think about it or force it. It simply happens as natural as trees, sharing sugars as mushrooms, exchanging water for food. Let yourself relax into this interconnection. You don't have to be self-sufficient. Don't have to do everything alone. Like the trees with their fungal partners, you're allowed to receive help, allowed to offer it, allowed to be part of something that works because everyone participates quietly, without fanfare or pride. The old tree sending nutrients to saplings isn't trying to be noble. It's simply doing what feels natural in the system it's always been part of. And you can do the same. Give when you can. Receive when you need. Trust that it all balances out through channels you might never fully understand. Rest now in this knowledge that beneath everything connections exist, silent, strong, and endlessly patient, that you're woven into the fabric of life as surely as mycelium is woven through forest soil, that you belong here in this vast, quiet network of being. Let that certainty hold you as you drift deeper, connected, supported, part of something much larger and infinitely gentle, safe in the silent friendship that sustains all living things. Right now, in forests all around the world, something extraordinary is happening that you cannot see. Millions upon millions of tiny particles are drifting through the air so small they're invisible to your eyes. These are spores, the seeds of mushrooms, lighter than dust, lighter than breath itself. A single mushroom can release millions of these spores. They fall from underneath its cap, like snow that doesn't exist, cascading down in numbers too vast to count. Each one carries the potential for new life, new growth, new mycelium, spreading through distant soil. But they don't push or force their way into the world. They simply let go and drift. Imagine standing in a forest and breathing in. With each breath, you're probably inhaling spores, though you'd never know it. They're so light they float on the slightest movement of air. A breeze carries them. The flutter of a bird's wing lifts them. Even your breath, gentle as it is, can send them spiraling upward into new trajectories. The spores don't know where they're going. They have no map, no destination, no plan. They simply release from the mushroom that created them and surrender to the wind. Some will travel just a few feet before settling. Others might drift for miles, carried high into the atmosphere, floating over mountains and rivers, before, eventually, inevitably falling back to Earth. Most of these spores will never become mushrooms. They'll land in places too dry or too bright, on concrete or bare rock, in water too deep or soil too compact. They'll simply dissolve back into the elements they came from. No fanfare, no tragedy, just a quiet return to the earth. But a few, just a few, out of those millions will find exactly what they need. They'll drift down and land on a piece of decaying wood in deep shade, or settle into rich soil near tree roots. They'll find moisture and darkness and all the subtle conditions required for germination, and there they'll begin their slow transformation. Even then, there's no rush. A spore might sit for weeks, absorbing moisture, swelling slightly, preparing. Then it sends out the first delicate thread of mycelium, just one cell thick, fragile as thought, but persistent. It grows branches, explores the space around it. Day by day, so slowly you could never watch it happen, the network expands. Months might pass before that single spore becomes a visible mushroom. Months of silent, patient growth in darkness. No anxiety about whether it's fast enough. No comparison with other spores that landed nearby. Just steady, inevitable progress toward emergence. There's something deeply peaceful about this way of spreading. The mushroom doesn't cling to its spores, doesn't try to control where they go, or worry about their fate. It releases millions of them, knowing most will fail. And that's perfectly fine, because a few will succeed. That's enough. That's how it's always been. Think about that, letting go. How the mushroom trusts the wind completely, trusts the process, trusts that what needs to happen will happen without interference or anxiety. The spores drift wherever they drift, land wherever they land, and life continues. You can breathe that same way right now. Each exhale a release. not trying to control where your breath goes or what it does, just letting it leave your body and dissolve into the air around you, trusting that the next breath will come when you need it. No effort, no forcing. Your thoughts can be like spores too. Let them drift. Some will settle and grow into something. Others will simply pass through and disappear. You don't need to chase every thought or worry about where it's going. Just let them float through your awareness, like spores through forest air. As you rest here, imagine yourself as light as a spore, so light you could drift on the gentlest breeze. No weight, no resistance, just floating peaceful and directionless, not needing to know where you're going, not needing to control the journey. The spores teach us that it's okay not to have a plan, okay to let circumstances carry you, okay to trust that if you land where you're meant to be, you'll know it, and if not, you'll simply drift on until you do, or maybe you won't, and that's okay too. There's no struggle in a spore's journey, no stress. It doesn't fight the wind or try to steer. It exists in complete acceptance of whatever comes, rain or sun, height or depth, stone or soil, all the same to the drifting spore. Let yourself drift now, like those invisible spores, your body settling deeper into rest, your mind releasing its grip on direction and purpose, just floating, just being carried by currents you don't need to understand or control. The mushroom sends out its millions of spores and then is done. It doesn't stay up at night wondering if they're okay. It doesn't track their progress or measure their success. It simply continues being a mushroom, patient and present while the spores live their own journeys. You can release like that too. Let go of what you've been holding. Let it drift away into the darkness. Trust that what needs to find ground will find it. What needs to grow will grow. And what doesn't, well, that was never yours to carry anyway. Breathe out now. Release. Feel yourself becoming lighter with each exhale, floating, drifting, settling gently into this moment, with no need to be anywhere else or anything other than exactly what you are. A spore in the vast forest air, small and perfect and exactly enough, carried by forces larger than yourself toward rest. You don't have to earn or achieve. Just allow it. Just drift. When autumn arrives, the forest transforms. Leaves turn gold and crimson, the air grows cool and crisp. And after the first rains soak deep into the soil, the mushrooms begin to appear. They emerge like gifts the earth has been hiding all summer, waiting for just the right moment to reveal. The ground is damp now, soft underfoot. The heat of summer has faded into memory, replaced by mist that clings to morning and a gentle chill that makes you pull your sweater closer. This is when the mushrooms love to grow. When moisture and coolness combine in perfect balance, walk through an autumn forest, and you'll see them everywhere once you train your eyes to notice. Bright red caps with white spots, straight from fairy tales. Clusters of honey gold mushrooms cascading down a fallen log. Deep brown mushrooms, almost black, standing solitary and dignified beside an old oak. Pure white ones, ghostly pale, emerging from beds of moss. Each species has its own shape, its own character. Some look like tiny umbrellas, others like shelves or fans. Some stand straight and tall, others sprawl and spread. There's no standard form, no template they follow. Each one grows according to its own nature, adding its unique presence to the forest floor. The colors are soft even when they're bright, not the aggressive neon of artificial dyes. but the gentle brilliance of natural pigments, a red that looks like it was made from clay and sunlight, a yellow that borrowed its hue from fallen leaves, browns and tans that blend with bark and soil, making the mushrooms seem like they're growing directly from the earth's dreams. If you kneel beside them and lean close, you'll catch their scent. It's the smell of earth, rich and complex, the smell of decomposition, which isn't unpleasant at all when you understand it as transformation, the smell of leaves breaking down of wood, returning to soil of the endless cycle that keeps the forest alive and fertile. This is the scent of endings becoming beginnings, of what was once a tree gradually becoming the foundation for new growth. The mushrooms are the workers in this process, the quiet transformers that take what's finished and prepare it to become something else. Their smell is honest, real, the perfume of life's continuous cycle. Imagine sitting beside a cluster of autumn mushrooms. The forest is quiet, except for the occasional rustle of a falling leaf. You're not in a hurry. There's nowhere else you need to be. So you simply sit and observe these small wonders that appeared overnight. Yesterday, this spot was empty, just bare earth and scattered leaves. But this morning, after the rain, here they are, a whole family of mushrooms that seem to have materialized from nothing. You know they were growing underground for weeks, preparing, and this emergence is just the final act. But still it feels like magic. You notice the delicate gills underneath their caps, the slight curve of their stems, how some lean toward each other as if in conversation, the way morning light catches on their surfaces, highlighting textures you'd never see from standing height. There's infinite detail in these small beings. If you return tomorrow, they'll be larger. Not dramatically so, but noticeably. The caps will have expanded a little. The stems grown slightly taller. Growth happening so gradually. You could never catch it in motion, but undeniably real over time. This is how mushrooms teach patience. They don't explode into existence. They unfold slowly, at their own pace, adding a little more each day. No rushing, no anxiety about growing fast enough. Just steady, inevitable expansion, according to their own internal timing. You could learn from this rhythm. Not everything needs to happen quickly. Not all growth is supposed to be dramatic and visible. Sometimes the best kind of development happens slowly, almost imperceptibly, building day by day into something substantial without any single moment of obvious transformation. The autumn mushrooms don't compare themselves to each other. The small one doesn't envy the large one. The pale one doesn't wish for brighter colors. They simply are what they are growing, as they grow each one perfect in its own expression of mushroomness. As you rest here now, imagine yourself as one of these autumn mushrooms, emerging gently into existence, not in a rush, taking your time to unfold, growing at the pace that's right for you, regardless of how fast or slow others around you might be developing. Feel the coolness of autumn air on your skin, the dampness of earth beneath you, the patient, steady rhythm of growth that doesn't announce itself, but simply continues day after day until something beautiful has emerged almost without you noticing. There's no pressure in this growth. The mushroom doesn't wake up anxious about whether it's expanded enough. It doesn't measure itself against yesterday or worry about tomorrow. It exists completely in the present moment of being exactly what it is, right now. Let yourself settle into that same acceptance You're growing too, even when you can't see it, developing and changing and becoming slowly, steadily in ways that might not be obvious day to day, but are absolutely real over time. The autumn forest holds space for all these different mushrooms, red and yellow and brown and white, tall and short, clustered and solitary. There's room for every variation, every pace of growth, every expression of being. And there's room for you too, exactly as you are growing, exactly as you grow. Rest now in the damp autumn earth. Let the cool air settle around you. Feel yourself expanding, gently, patiently, like a mushroom cap, slowly unfurling. No rush, no deadline, just the natural unfolding of what you already are. The forest doesn't demand anything from its mushrooms, except that they be themselves, and nothing is demanded of you either, except to rest, to grow in your own time. Let that permission sink deep and sleep. Listen, can you hear it? The sound of rain beginning to fall on leaves high above. Soft at first, just a whisper of drops touching the canopy, then gradually building into a steady rhythm. This is the sound mushrooms have been waiting for. Rain doesn't rush when it reaches the forest floor. It takes its time filtering down through layers of leaves, sliding along branches, gathering into droplets that fall from one level to the next. By the time it reaches the ground, it's gentle, patient, ready to sink slowly into the waiting soil. Beneath the surface, in the darkness, where mycelium spreads its delicate networks, something awakens. The fungal threads begin to absorb moisture, drinking slowly like someone savoring water after a long thirst. There's no gulping, no hurry, just a steady, peaceful intake. Cell by cell, the mycelium swells, slightly filling with life-giving water. This drinking happens in absolute silence. No sound marks the moment when a fungal thread absorbs a molecule of water. No celebration when moisture spreads through the network. Just the quiet work of living happening continuously, invisibly, in the dark earth beneath your feet. The mycelium doesn't waste a single drop. Everything it takes in has purpose. Water flows through the threads to places that need it most. Some goes to maintaining existing structures. Some travels to the edges, supporting new growth. Some is shared with tree roots wrapped in fungal embrace. All of it used wisely, naturally, without thought or planning. After a good rain, something remarkable begins. Deep in the mycelium, small knots start to form. These are pinheads, the first tiny beginning of what will become mushrooms. They're so small, you'd need a microscope to see them. Just clusters of cells, organizing themselves, preparing for emergence. But they don't rush. Even though they're forming, even though the process has begun, they wait. They need the conditions to be just right. The soil must stay damp enough. The temperature must cooperate. The timing must align with something deeper than we can measure. So they wait these little knots of potential patient as stone. Days might pass, a week, maybe longer. The pinheads grow slowly underground, invisible to any observer. They're accumulating what they need, building structure, gathering resources, all in darkness, all in silence, all in their own perfect time. And then one night, when everything aligns, the mushrooms push upward. They don't emerge gradually over weeks. They rise in hours. While you sleep, while the forest dreams in darkness, mushrooms break through soil and lift their caps toward air they've never touched before. You might walk past a spot in the evening and see nothing, just earth and leaves and the ordinary forest floor, but return in the morning and there they are, a cluster of mushrooms standing where emptiness was before, as if they appeared by magic, as if someone placed them there while you weren't looking. But it wasn't magic, and it wasn't sudden. It was the culmination of weeks or months of invisible preparation. All that time underground, growing slowly, building strength, waiting for the moment. And when the moment came, the emergence was swift, because everything was ready. There's something profound in this pattern. How preparation happens slowly, privately, out of sight. How you might work on something for so long with nothing to show for it. No visible progress, no proof that anything is changing. And then, when the time is right, everything comes together quickly. The result appears seemingly overnight. The mushroom after rain teaches patience with yourself. When you can't see progress, when it feels like nothing is changing, remember the mycelium preparing underground. Remember those tiny knots forming in darkness, invisible but real, growing but not yet ready to show themselves. Your own growth might be happening this way right now, invisible, slow, preparing for a moment of emergence. You can't predict or force. All you can do is keep absorbing what you need, like mycelium absorbing rain. Keep building your foundations quietly. Keep preparing, even when you can't see results. And then, one day perhaps, when you least expect it, something will break through. Something you've been working toward will suddenly be real and visible. Not because it happened overnight, but because you did all the slow work beforehand that made swift emergence possible. Imagine yourself now as mycelium after rain, absorbing slowly, swelling gently with nourishment, preparing quietly for something you can't quite see yet, but that's forming in you nonetheless. No pressure, no timeline, just the natural unfolding of readiness. Feel the moisture sinking into you like rain into soil. Not flooding, not overwhelming, just a gentle saturation, filling empty spaces, providing what's needed, settling deep into your roots, your core, your quiet underground places, and feel the small knots of possibility forming in you, things you're preparing for, even if you don't know their shape yet, dreams gestating in darkness, changes organizing themselves in your depths, all of it real, even though invisible, all of it growing, even though you can't measure it. Let yourself rest in this stage of preparation. You don't need to emerge yet, don't need to break through. This time of quiet accumulation is valuable, necessary, sacred in its own way. The mushroom doesn't apologize for weeks underground. It knows that's where the real work happens. So rest in your own underground time. Let the rain of this moment nourish you. Let your unseen parts grow and strengthen. Trust that when everything is ready, emergence will happen naturally, easily, in its own perfect time. For now, just absorb. Just prepare. Just be the mycelium in the dark soil, doing its quiet work beneath the sound of rain. Patient, present, perfectly at peace with not yet being seen. Sleep comes like rain, gradually, gently, soaking in until suddenly you're under. Let it come. Let it nourish. Let yourself sink into rest as deep as roots in rain-soaked earth. In the forest, there are mushrooms you can eat and mushrooms you cannot. This much is true, but the word poisonous carries weight it doesn't deserve, because poison is just a perspective, a matter of who's asking. That bright red mushroom with white spots, the one from fairy tales, is deadly to humans. Even a small bite could make you very ill. But watch a squirrel nibble it without concern. Watch a slug crawl across it, taking tiny bites completely unharmed. What's poison to you is simply dinner to them. Nature doesn't label things as good or bad, doesn't hand out grades or judgments. A mushroom was what it is. The compounds in its flesh serve purposes we might not understand. Protection, perhaps. Communication. Chemical warfare against competitors. Or reasons we haven't discovered yet. That stunning mushroom scarlet as a sunset, growing in a perfect cluster beneath an old oak tree. It's beautiful, isn't it? The way its color glows against the brown earth, the elegant curve of its cap, the delicate gills underneath, arranged in perfect radial symmetry. Deadly, beautiful. Beautifully deadly. Both things true at once. The toxins in this mushroom might protect its mycelium from animals that would otherwise dig up the forest floor, disturbing the delicate fungal networks below. The poison serves a purpose, keeps the mushroom alive long enough to spread its spores, maintains the balance of who eats what in the forest ecosystem. Or perhaps the toxins do something else entirely, something we haven't figured out. Nature keeps her secrets, and mushrooms are particularly good at holding them. We know so little, really, about why they do what they do, why they produce the specific chemicals they produce, what role each compound plays in the vast web of forest relationships. What we call poisonous is simply incompatible with our biology. Not evil, not wrong, just not for us. Like how some people can't digest milk or react badly to peanuts. It's not that milk or peanuts are bad. They're just not right for those particular people. Every mushroom has its place. The ones we can eat nourish us. The ones we can't eat nourish someone else or serve some other function we might never fully comprehend. Each one contributes to the forest's balance. Each one belongs exactly where it is being exactly what it is. There's something freeing in this perspective, in understanding that poisonous doesn't mean bad. Dangerous to you doesn't mean dangerous to everyone. What you can't tolerate might be exactly what someone else needs, and that's not a problem. That's just how diversity works. The forest doesn't judge its mushrooms, doesn't wish the poisonous ones would be edible, or the edible ones would be more colorful. It accepts each mushroom as it is, values each for its unique contribution, makes space for all of them. Imagine walking through the forest with this kind of acceptance, looking at that brilliant red mushroom and appreciating its beauty without needing it to be something you can eat, respecting its toxicity as just another characteristic, like its color or its shape. Not good, not bad, just what it is. You might find yourself thinking about your own traits this way, the parts of yourself that don't fit certain situations, the aspects of your personality that aren't everyone's cup of tea. They're not flaws. They're just incompatibilities, like a poisonous mushroom that's perfect for slugs, but not for humans. Not everyone will appreciate you. Some people will find you too much or not enough, too quiet or too loud, too intense or too reserved. And that's not a judgment on your worth. That's just incompatibility. You're not for everyone, and everyone's not for you. That's how it should be. The red mushroom doesn't try to become edible, doesn't apologize for its toxins or wish it were different. It stands there vibrant and unapologetic, being exactly what it is. Some creatures avoid it, others don't. Either way, it continues existing, contributing its particular gifts to the forest's balance. You can be that way too. Present yourself honestly. Let some people keep their distance if that's what's right for them. Let others come close who appreciate what you offer. Either way, you're valuable. You belong. You're part of the balance. The forest needs its poisonous mushrooms as much as its edible ones. Both play crucial roles. Both have beauty. Both deserve to exist without justification or apology. There's no hierarchy here, no better or worse, just different expressions of mushroomness, each one perfect in its own way. As you rest here, consider releasing the need to be palatable to everyone, to be safe and acceptable and universally liked. Some of the most beautiful mushrooms are the poisonous ones. Some of the most important contributions come from things that aren't comfortable or easy or digestible. You're allowed to have edges, allowed to be too much for some people, allowed to contain things that not everyone can handle. That doesn't make you wrong or bad or in need of fixing. It makes you real, complex, fully yourself. The mushroom doesn't waste energy trying to be different, doesn't exhaust itself attempting to please everyone. It simply grows according to its nature, produces the compounds it produces, displays the colors it displays, and trusts that this is enough, that this is exactly right. Let yourself settle into that same trust. You don't need to change or improve or become more acceptable. You're already exactly what you need to be, already contributing in ways you might not even recognize, already valuable simply by existing as yourself. The forest holds a space for all its mushrooms, poisonous and edible, bright and dull, common and rare. There's room for every variation, and there's room for you too, exactly as you are, with all your incompatibilities and rough edges and things that aren't for everyone. Rest in that acceptance. Let it soak into you like rain into soil. You belong here. You're part of the balance. You're exactly right, even in the ways you're not right for everyone. The forest knows this. The mushrooms know this. And now, as you drift deeper into rest, perhaps you're beginning to know it too. Sleep now unapologetically, yourself, perfect in your imperfection, beautiful in your particularity, as right as any mushroom that ever grew. In the quiet hours of dawn before most of the world wakes, a deer steps carefully through the forest. Her nose is lifted slightly, testing the air. She's searching for something. The scent of mushrooms, earthy and rich, carried on the morning breeze. When she finds it, she'll walk slowly to the source and eat peacefully, taking only what she needs. Animals have been finding mushrooms this way for longer than we can imagine. No one taught the deer which mushrooms are safe for her. No guidebook exists in nature. She simply knows. Her body recognizes what will nourish her, what will harm her. It's a wisdom passed down through generations, written into instinct. Watch a rabbit pause beside a cluster of small brown mushrooms. He sniffs carefully, then takes a delicate bite, chews slowly. His whiskers twitch with satisfaction. This is food he's been looking for, food that will sustain him. He eats without anxiety, without second guessing, just pure, simple trust in his own knowing. Squirrels have an even more remarkable relationship with mushrooms. In late summer and autumn, when mushrooms are abundant, squirrels become harvesters. They bite mushrooms free from their stems and carry them up into trees. There in the crooks of branches, They carefully arrange them to dry in the air and sun. These dried mushrooms will be stored away in tree hollows, hidden in caches scattered throughout the squirrel's territory. When winter comes and fresh food is scarce, the squirrel will remember these hiding places, will retrieve the mushrooms, still good, still nourishing, preserved by the squirrel's own natural method of food storage. There's no urgency in this work. The squirrel doesn't frantically hoard. She takes her time, choosing carefully, arranging thoughtfully. It's as if she knows, without counting days or checking calendars, exactly how much she'll need, exactly when the snow will come. Trust in the rhythm of seasons that her ancestors have followed forever. On the forest floor, a slug makes its slow journey across a mushroom cap. So slow, you could watch for minutes and barely see it move. It leaves behind a glistening trail of mucus, and as it travels, it takes tiny bites. Little crescent-shaped notches appear in the mushroom's flesh. The slug is in no hurry. Why would it be? It has nowhere else to be. Nothing else to do but eat this mushroom, slowly, thoroughly. It might spend hours on a single mushroom, maybe even days. Time moves differently when you're a slug. When you carry your home on your back and the whole world is whatever you're touching right now, there's something deeply peaceful about this pace, about eating so slowly that each bite is its own experience. No rushing to the next thing, no thought of what comes after. Just this mushroom, this moment, this gentle consumption that's barely distinguishable from rest. Flies land on mushrooms too, though, for different reasons. They're not interested in eating. They're looking for nurseries, a safe place to lay their eggs. The mushroom's flesh will provide food for the larvae when they hatch. Tiny white grubs that will eat their way through the mushroom as they grow. This might seem like it should bother the mushroom, but the mushroom doesn't mind. It's part of the cycle. The larvae eat, they grow, they eventually become flies that will help spread spores to new locations. Everything serves everything else. Nothing is wasted. Nothing is without purpose. All these relationships between mushrooms and animals happened without negotiation. No contracts were signed. No agreements were made. Animals simply began eating mushrooms millions of years ago, and mushrooms adapted to be eaten, or didn't adapt, and went extinct. What remains is this elegant dance of interdependence. The animals know which mushrooms are theirs, know by scent, by taste, by some sense we don't have names for. They don't make mistakes, don't second-guess themselves. They trust completely in their ability to navigate their world, to know what's food and what isn't, to survive by following what feels right. Imagine having that kind of certainty, that deep instinctual knowing, not based on research or advice or what someone else told you, just your own inner compass pointing steadily toward what you need, toward what nourishes you. The animals don't overthink their choices. Don't lie awake, worrying if they picked the right mushroom. They eat what their bodies tell them to eat. Rest when their bodies tell them to rest. Move when movement is needed. Stop when stopping is right. There's an ancient communication happening in these interactions, a conversation older than language, mushroom and animal speaking through chemistry and instinct, understanding each other in ways that don't require words. That might actually work better without them. You're part of these ancient conversations too, whether you realize it or not. Your body knows things your mind has forgotten, knows what you need, knows when to rest and when to move, knows what nourishes and what depletes. If you could quiet the chatter of thought and simply listen, you'd hear it speaking. As you rest here now, imagine yourself as one of these forest animals, moving slowly like the slug, trusting deeply like the deer, preparing patiently like the squirrel. No rushing, no doubting, just following the quiet wisdom that lives in your cells, that remembers how to survive, how to find what you need, how to rest when resting is what's needed most. Let your breath slow to the pace of a slug crossing a mushroom. So slow it's barely movement at all. Just the gentlest rise and fall, the smallest shift between one moment and the next. Feel yourself connected to all the animals that have ever found nourishment in the forest, all the quiet creatures who know how to live without anxiety, who trust in the abundance around them, who take what they need and leave the rest, who rest deeply because they know rest is sacred. You're one of them, part of the same ancient pattern, the same slow dance of need and nourishment, of giving and receiving, of being exactly what you are, where you are without question or doubt. Rest now in that animal knowing, that deep, wordless certainty. Let it hold you as you drift into sleep, as natural as a deer bedding down in ferns, as peaceful as a slug resting on its mushroom, as trusting as a squirrel who knows winter will come and she'll be ready. Sleep, forest creature, sleep deep and true. Long before science explained mushrooms, people told stories about them. Stories passed down through generations, whispered by firelight, woven into the fabric of how we understood the mysterious world around us. And in almost every culture, mushrooms held a special kind of magic. In old European tales, mushrooms were the furniture of fairies. Those perfect circles of mushrooms you sometimes find in meadows and forests, they were called fairy rings. People believed that on nights when the moon was full, fairies would gather in these circles to dance and feast and celebrate in ways humans couldn't quite comprehend. Imagine that scene for a moment. The forest at night, silver with moonlight, and in a clearing, a perfect circle of red-capped mushrooms, each one like a tiny seat or table. The air shimmers slightly, and if you're very quiet, very still, you might hear the faint sound of music, laughter like bells, the whisper of tiny feet dancing on moss. Of course we know now why mushrooms form these rings. The mycelium spreads outward from a central point, growing evenly in all directions. Each year it extends a little further, and where the edge of this underground circle reaches, mushrooms emerge. A perfect ring growing wider year after year. Some fairy rings are hundreds of years old, ancient circles expanding slowly through centuries. But knowing the science doesn't diminish, the magic does it. There's still something enchanting about finding a perfect circle of mushrooms in the forest. Something that makes you pause and wonder. Something that connects you to all the people throughout history who saw the same thing and felt the same sense of awe. Many cultures believed mushrooms had healing powers, could cure ailments, could ease pain, could bring prophetic dreams, and they weren't entirely wrong. Some mushrooms do contain compounds that affect the human body in profound ways. Compounds that can heal or harm, that can alter consciousness or provide medicine. The ancient healers who gathered mushrooms in forests didn't have laboratories or chemical analyses. They had observation and experience, and a kind of knowing that came from paying very close attention to the natural world. They noticed which mushrooms helped and which hurt, which brought visions and which brought nourishment, and they passed this knowledge down with the same reverence they gave to any sacred thing. There's something beautiful about this relationship between humans and mushrooms, this long history of respect and wonder and careful observation. We've been telling stories about mushrooms for as long as we've been telling stories at all. They've always been a little bit magical to us, a little bit mysterious. Perhaps it's because mushrooms appear so suddenly. One day the forest floor is empty. The next day, mushrooms stand where nothing stood before, like they materialized from wishes, from spells, from the generous whim of the earth itself. Or perhaps it's because they grow in darkness, in places where light doesn't reach, in the shadowy spaces between life and death, feeding on what has died, creating new life from decay. They're liminal beings, existing in the in-between places, neither plant nor animal, their own strange kingdom. This is why so many stories about mushrooms involve crossing thresholds, moving between worlds, ordinary and magical, waking and dreaming, known and unknown. Mushrooms in folklore are doorways, keys to other realms, guides to places we can't reach by walking or even by wishing. Let yourself sink into these old stories now. Don't worry about whether they're true or false. Just let them wash over you like moonlight, like the imagined music of fairy dances, like whispered spells in languages you've forgotten, but somehow still understand. Imagine you're walking through a forest on a full moon night. The world is soft, with silver light. Everything familiar looks slightly strange, slightly dreamlike, and there ahead of you, you see it. A perfect circle of mushrooms, glowing gently in the moonlight. You know you should probably walk around it. That's what the old stories always say. Don't step inside a fairy ring. Don't disturb the circle. But you're tired, and the grass inside the ring looks so soft, so inviting, and you're not entirely sure you believe in fairies anyway. So you step inside, and the moment you do, something shifts. The air feels different, thicker, sweeter. Time seems to slow down or maybe speed up. You can't quite tell. The moon is brighter, the stars are closer, and if you listen very carefully, you might hear music, or you might just hear the wind in the leaves. It's hard to say. You lie down in the center of the circle, on the cool grass, looking up at the sky, and you feel held somehow, welcomed, like the earth herself has made this space just for you, like the mushrooms are standing guard, keeping watch while you rest. Maybe the fairies are real. Maybe they're just the way our ancestors explained the magic they felt in places like this. Places where mushrooms grow in perfect circles. Places where the boundary between possible and impossible seems thinner than usual. Does it matter which is true? What matters is the feeling, the sense of being part of something larger and more mysterious than your everyday life. The permission to wonder, to imagine, to let go of needing everything explained and just experience the quiet magic of lying inside a fairy ring under moonlight. The mushrooms don't mind whether you believe in fairies or mycelial networks or both. They just keep growing their slow circles, keep expanding outward, patient and persistent. Keep creating these spaces that make humans pause and wonder and tell stories. Let those stories carry you now. Let yourself drift on tales of fairy feasts and mushroom magic. Let your mind wander through enchanted forests where anything might be possible, where mushrooms are doorways and circles are portals, and the ordinary world is just a thin veil over something much more wonderful. You don't need to understand, don't need to analyze or explain. Just let yourself float on these ancient stories like a leaf on a stream. Let them carry you gently into dreams where science and magic are the same thing, where mushrooms can be both fungus and fairy furniture, where mystery and explanation dance together in moonlit circles. Sleep now inside the fairy ring, protected by mushrooms that have been standing guard for longer than you can imagine, held by stories older than memory, dreaming dreams that might just be another kind of truth. The fairies, if they're there, will let you rest, and in the morning, whether it's been one night or 100 years, you'll wake refreshed, changed in ways you can't quite name, carrying a little bit of forest magic back into your ordinary life. But for now, just sleep, deep in the circle, deep in the story, deep in the soft space between worlds where mushrooms grow and fairies dance, and everything somehow is exactly as it should be. Close your eyes and breathe in deeply. Imagine you're kneeling on soft forest earth, leaning close to a cluster of mushrooms. At first, you might not smell anything at all. The scent of mushrooms is subtle, quiet, like everything else about them. You have to be patient. You have to pay attention. But then, as you breathe in slowly, carefully, you begin to notice a smell that's hard to describe to someone who's never experienced it. Earthy, yes, but not just earth. Something more complex, more layered. The smell of things transforming, of life and death dancing together in the soil. Each species of mushroom has its own scent. Some smell like almonds, sweet and nutty. Others carry the sharp tang of radish, or the mineral note of fresh-turned earth. Some have a hint of anise like licorice. Others smell faintly of the sea, though they've never been near water. Each one its own signature, its own quiet announcement of identity. These aren't powerful smells, not like flowers competing for the attention of bees. Mushrooms don't shout their presence. Their scent is an invitation, not a demand. You have to choose to come closer, have to kneel down and lean in, have to want to know them. There's something deeply peaceful about scents that don't impose themselves, that wait to be discovered, that reward attention rather than demanding it. The forest is full of these gentle smells: rain on leaves, moss on stone, and mushrooms growing quietly, releasing their subtle fragrances into the cool air. When you smell mushrooms, you're smelling the forest's own process of renewal. That earthy scent is decomposition, yes, but decomposition isn't an ending. It's transformation. It's the forest taking care of itself, breaking down what's finished so new things can begin. And mushrooms are the workers in this process, the patient transformers, and they smell like their work, like change happening slowly, like endings becoming beginnings. Scent connects to memory in ways that other senses don't. A smell can transport you instantly to a time and place you haven't thought about in years. The scent of mushrooms might take you back to a walk you took in childhood, a forest you visited once and never forgot, a moment of peace you didn't know you were storing away for later. This happens because smell bypasses the usual pathways in your brain. It connects directly to the areas that store memory and emotion. So when you smell something, you don't just register information, you feel something, remember something, often without even realizing why. The scent of mushrooms, of forest earth, of damp leaves and cool air. These are the smells of quiet places, of spaces away from the noise and rush of daily life. When you breathe them in, something in you remembers what peace feels like, what slowness feels like, what it's like to exist without urgency. Right now, even though you're not in a forest, you can imagine that scent. Let it fill your awareness. Cool air, slightly damp, the rich smell of soil, and underneath everything, that subtle, complex scent of mushrooms, growing, transforming, just being. Breathe it in slowly. Let it settle into your lungs. Let it travel through your body, carrying with it the peace of the forest, the patience of mushrooms, the quiet certainty that everything happens in its own time, that rushing isn't necessary, that the work of transformation can be gentle. Notice how your breathing naturally slows when you focus on scent, how you have to pause between breaths to really smell something, how the act of smelling is itself a meditation, a return to your body, to this moment, to the simple experience of being alive and aware. The mushrooms aren't trying to smell any particular way. They're just releasing compounds as part of their natural processes. But to us, those compounds become something more. They become doorways to memory, keys to peace, reminders of places and moments when we felt held by something larger than ourselves. Let yourself rest in that memory now, even if you've never actually knelt beside mushrooms in a forest. You can imagine it so vividly that your brain doesn't know the difference. You can feel the cool air, see the dappled light through leaves, and smell that earthy, complex, gentle scent of mushrooms and forest floor. Your breath is like the breath of the forest, in and out, steady and rhythmic, not forced, not controlled, just happening naturally, the way mushrooms grow naturally, the way scent disperses naturally into air, everything flowing without effort. And as you breathe in this imagined forest air, you might notice other scents joining the mushroom smell. Pine needles releasing their resin in warm sunlight, the green scent of crushed ferns, the mineral coolness of a nearby stream, all of it blending together into the unique perfume of the forest, the smell of life living itself out in all its quiet complexity. This is the scent that mushrooms are part of, not separate from the forest, but woven into it, adding their own notes to the symphony of smells that make a forest feel like home to so many creatures, like sanctuary, like a place where you can finally breathe fully. So breathe fully now. Let your lungs expand with this imagined forest air. Hold it gently for a moment. Feel all the peace and patience it contains, and then release it slowly, completely, letting go of anything you don't need, anything that's finished, transforming, and ready to return to the earth. The mushrooms will take it. Will take all the old finished things and slowly, gently transform them into something new. You don't have to do the transforming yourself. You just have to release, just have to breathe out and trust that the forest knows what to do with what you give it. Another breath in, the cool, earthy, slightly sweet smell of mushrooms and soil. Another breath out, longer than the last, slower, sinking deeper into this imagined forest, into this state of perfect rest where everything smells like peace, like patience, like the quiet certainty that you're exactly where you need to be. Let the scent wrap around you like a blanket, like fog settling into a valley, soft, encompassing, gentle as the mushrooms that release it. And as it wraps around you, feel yourself letting go, dissolving into rest, into sleep, into dreams that smell like forest floor and taste like rain and feel like the softest moss you've ever touched. The mushrooms will keep growing while you sleep, keep releasing their gentle scent into the darkness, keep doing their slow work of transformation, and you can rest knowing that you're part of that same process, that same patient unfolding, that same quiet magic. Breathe in once more, hold the forest in your lungs, and breathe out, releasing everything, falling into sleep as soft as moss and deep as roots and peaceful as mushrooms growing in the gentle dark. Most people think of mushrooms as creatures of the forest floor, of leaf litter and fallen logs, of darkness and damp soil. But there's another world where mushrooms live, a world even quieter, even more hidden, the world beneath the water's surface. In streams and ponds and lakes, there are mushrooms, not the kind you'd recognize if you saw them. These are smaller, simpler, adapted to a life suspended in water instead of rooted in earth. But they're mushrooms nonetheless, doing the same patient work of transformation, just in a different element. Imagine a leaf falling from a tree beside a stream. It lands on the water's surface and floats for a while, spinning slowly in the current. Eventually, it becomes waterlogged, heavy, and it sinks down to rest on the stream bed, nestled among pebbles and sand. That leaf doesn't just sit there unchanged. Aquatic mushrooms find it, microscopic. At first, they begin their work, breaking down the leaf's structure, releasing nutrients into the water, transforming what was once green and growing into food for other creatures, for insects, for fish, for the whole ecosystem that depends on this quiet recycling. You'd never see these mushrooms without a microscope. They're too small, too subtle, living their entire lives in dimensions we can barely comprehend. But they're there, countless numbers of them, working steadily in the cool darkness of water, in places where light barely reaches. Some aquatic mushrooms live in mountain streams where water rushes cold and clear over ancient stones. Here the current is constant, relentless. Anything that wants to survive must hold on tight, and these mushrooms do. They anchor themselves to rocks and submerged wood. They bend with the flow, but don't break, don't let go. There's a kind of strength in this that's different from the strength we usually celebrate. It's not about being rigid or unyielding. It's about flexibility, about bending without breaking, about holding on while also allowing movement, about being both strong and soft at once. The water flows over these mushrooms day and night, never stopping, never resting. But the mushrooms don't fight against it. They work with it. Let it bring nutrients to them. Let it carry away what they've broken down. They exist in partnership with the current, rather than in opposition to it. Listen now to the sound of water. Maybe you can actually hear water nearby. The sound of rain, a fountain, water running through pipes. Or maybe you can just imagine it, that gentle, constant sound, the white noise of a stream flowing over stones. This sound is soothing because it's both constant and varied, always there, but never exactly the same, like breathing, like a heartbeat, the fundamental rhythms that tell us we're alive, that everything's okay, that the world continues its ancient patterns, regardless of whatever small dramas we're living through. Beneath that sound, beneath the surface of the water, the aquatic mushrooms do their work. They don't make any sound of their own, don't announce their presence or their importance. They simply exist in the flow, breaking down leaves, cleaning water, creating food from decay, essential but invisible. Most of the work that keeps the world running happens like this, unseen, uncelebrated. Small actions repeated countless times, in countless places, by countless tiny beings. The mushrooms in the stream don't know they're part of something larger. They're just doing what they do. But together, they keep the water clean, keep the ecosystem balanced, keep life flowing like the current itself. You don't have to be seen to be valuable, don't have to be recognized to be essential. The aquatic mushrooms teach this lesson just by existing, by continuing their work whether anyone notices or not, by finding satisfaction in the work itself rather than in any acknowledgement of it. Imagine yourself beside a mountain stream. The air is cool and filled with the sound of flowing water. You dip your hand into the stream, and the water is shockingly cold, crystal clear. You can see the stones on the bottom, the way water flows around them in patterns that seem almost choreographed. And somewhere in that water, too small to see mushrooms are at work, clinging to a leaf, wrapped around a twig, growing slowly in the cold darkness. They don't mind the cold, don't mind the dark, don't mind being unseen. They just continue, patient and persistent as the water itself. You can learn to work like that, to do what you do, whether anyone's watching or not, whether anyone appreciates it or not, to find your satisfaction in the doing itself, in the steady continuation, in being part of the flow rather than fighting against it. The stream doesn't worry about where it's going, doesn't stress about obstacles in its path. It simply flows, around rocks, over falls, through narrow channels and wide pools, always moving, always adapting, never stopping to complain or doubt or wonder if it's good enough. And the mushrooms in the stream don't worry either. They just hold on, just continue their work, just exist in the flow, bending but not breaking, working but not striving, being exactly what they are, where they are doing what they were made to do. Let yourself be like that now, like water flowing over stones, like mushrooms clinging to submerged wood, not fighting, not forcing, just allowing, just being, just continuing in the most natural way possible. Feel yourself held by something larger, like the mushrooms are held by the stream. You don't have to hold yourself up, don't have to maintain anything through effort. You can just rest in the flow, let it carry you, let it support you, let it do the work while you simply exist within it. The sound of water continues, constant, soothing. The mushrooms continue their work, patient, invisible, and you can continue too. Continue breathing, continue resting, continue sinking deeper into this place of perfect ease where everything flows and nothing needs to be forced. Under the water's surface, in the cool darkness, life continues quietly. Mushrooms transform leaves into nutrients. Water carries everything downstream. The whole system works without anyone directing it, without anyone worrying about it. It just works, because that's what natural systems do. They flow, they balance, they continue, and you're part of a natural system too. You don't have to figure everything out, don't have to control every outcome. You can trust that if you just continue being yourself, doing your work, existing in the flow, everything will balance, everything will work out. Not because you forced it to, but because that's what natural systems do. Rest now in the stream of sleep. Let it carry you deeper. Let yourself be like those aquatic mushrooms, small and hidden, and doing their essential work in the quiet dark, not needing anyone to see, not needing anything except to continue, to exist, to be part of the endless patient flow of life, transforming into more life. The water will keep flowing while you sleep. The mushrooms will keep working, and you can let go completely, knowing that the world continues, that your place in it is secure, that you're exactly where you need to be, held by the current, supported by the flow, resting in the deep, cool peace of water, over stone, over mushroom, over leaf, over time itself. Sleep now. Flow into dreams as clear as mountain streams, as cool as spring water, as peaceful as the hidden world beneath the surface, where mushrooms work their quiet magic, and everything somehow is exactly as it should be. What's the largest living thing on Earth? Most people would guess a blue whale, massive and magnificent in the ocean, or perhaps a giant sequoia towering hundreds of feet into the California sky. But they'd be wrong. The largest living organism on our planet is a mushroom, not a single mushroom cap rising from the forest floor, but a vast network of mycelium spreading beneath the soil of a forest in Oregon. Miles of fungal threads, all connected, all part of one single individual, one organism that covers thousands of acres, that weighs hundreds of tons. That might be thousands of years old. Think about that for a moment. Beneath an ordinary-looking forest, beneath trees and ferns, and the paths where deer walk there, lives a being so immense it's hard to comprehend. A creature that was already ancient when the pyramids were built, that has witnessed the rise and fall of countless trees, that has persisted through droughts and floods and ice ages, and nobody knew it was there until recently. Scientists were studying honey mushrooms in the forest, taking samples from different locations. When they analyzed the DNA, they discovered something remarkable. The mushrooms weren't separate individuals. They were all genetically identical, all part of the same organism, one massive fungus that had spread slowly through the forest over millennia. The mushroom didn't announce itself, didn't draw attention to its vastness. It just quietly continued doing what mushrooms do, growing, feeding on dead wood, connecting with tree roots, spreading steadily outward at a pace so slow you could never observe it in a human lifetime. Just a few inches per year, maybe a few feet. But over thousands of years, those inches became miles. There's something deeply peaceful about this kind of existence. To be so large, yet so hidden, so ancient, yet so unassuming. The mushroom doesn't need anyone to know about it, doesn't need recognition or celebration. It simply is, vast and patient and completely content in its anonymity. Imagine being that patient, growing so slowly that a single human lifetime would barely register as a moment in your existence, having so much time that there's never any need to hurry, never any deadline, never any pressure to be anywhere or do anything except exactly what you're already doing. The mushroom has no ambition to be larger, no goal to reach. It's not trying to become the biggest organism on Earth. It simply grew steadily, year after year, and that's what it became. Not through striving or forcing, just through consistent, patient existence, through showing up every day, every year, every century, and continuing. You could walk through that Oregon forest and have no idea you're walking over the largest living thing on the planet. The trees would look like any other trees. The mushrooms poking up through the soil would look like ordinary honey mushrooms. Nothing would announce that beneath your feet lives something vast beyond comprehension. There's a kind of humility in this that's worth contemplating. The mushroom could be forgiven for wanting to be noticed, for wanting credit for its vastness, but it doesn't seem to care about any of that. It just exists underground, doing its work, being what it is. Most of the important things in life are like this, happening quietly, growing slowly, making no noise about their significance. The love that builds over decades in a long marriage, the skills that develop through years of practice, the wisdom that accumulates so gradually you don't notice it until you look back and realize how much you've changed. These things don't announce themselves, don't demand recognition. They just grow steadily like mycelium spreading through soil. And one day, if you stop to notice, if you take the time to really look, you realize something vast has developed, something that was always there, but that you never quite saw until the moment was right. The Oregon mushroom teaches that greatness doesn't require speed, doesn't require ambition or aggression or competition. Sometimes greatness is just the natural result of existing consistently over time, of continuing to grow even when the growth is imperceptible, of staying alive and doing your work year after year until suddenly you look around and realize what you've become. As you rest here, now imagine yourself as that mushroom, not the small caps visible on the surface, but the vast network beneath, miles of you spreading slowly through the earth, connected to everything, ancient beyond measure, patient beyond understanding. Feel how it would be to have that much time, to know that nothing needs to happen quickly, that you have centuries to accomplish whatever you're here to accomplish, that each moment is just one tiny moment in an existence so long that worry becomes absurd, that urgency becomes meaningless. What would you do differently if you knew you had thousands of years? Probably you'd slow down, stop rushing, take time to really experience each moment instead of racing toward the next one. You'd be more patient with your growth, more accepting of your current state, more willing to trust the process of slow development. The mushroom has never been in a hurry, has never lost sleep worrying about whether it's growing fast enough. It just grows at the pace it grows, and that pace, slow as it seems from a human perspective, has been enough to create something magnificent, something vast, something that will outlive us all. Let yourself sink into that same patience now, that same trust in slow time. You don't need to accomplish anything tonight. Don't need to grow or change or improve. You just need to exist like the mushroom exists, present and peaceful, and completely accepting of your own pace. The mycelium spreads through darkness, never seeing light, never needing to. It knows where it's going through senses we don't understand, through connections we can't see, and it continues steadily, invisibly, perfectly content in the dark earth. You can rest in that same darkness now. Let it hold you like soil holds mycelium. Let yourself spread out, relaxing into every direction. No edges, no boundaries, just the gentle expansion of rest spreading through your whole being. The mushroom will still be there tomorrow, and the day after, and 1,000 years from now. It doesn't worry about this, doesn't plan for it. It just continues being what it is. And that continuation, that patient presence is enough. You're enough too, right now, exactly as you are. You don't need to be larger or more impressive or more visible. You just need to be here, to continue, to exist with the same patient certainty as the mycelium beneath the Oregon forest. Time will do its work, years will pass, and slowly, imperceptibly, you'll become something you can't quite imagine yet. Not because you forced it, not because you rushed, but because you continued, because you existed, because you trusted the slow, steady process of growth that happens when you stop trying to control it. Rest in that trust now. Let go of timelines and expectations. Let yourself be vast and hidden and patient. Let yourself grow at your own pace, in your own way. The pace of mycelium, the pace of ancient things, the pace of life that knows it has all the time in the world. Sleep now, spreading slowly through the peaceful dark, vast as the largest mushroom, patient as thousands of years, connected to everything, hurrying toward nothing, already exactly where you need to be. Winter comes to the forest like a slow exhale. The air grows cold. The days shorten, and gradually, quietly, the forest begins to rest. Trees drop their leaves. Animals retreat to dens. And the mushrooms, those visible fruiting bodies that dotted the forest floor in autumn, disappear. Walk through a winter forest, and you might think the mushrooms are gone, dead, finished until next year. The ground is hard, maybe covered with snow. Everything looks dormant, still, as if life itself has paused. But underneath, beneath the frozen surface, the mycelium is still there, still alive, just resting, the same way you rest when you sleep. Not gone, not dead, just conserving energy, waiting patiently for the world to warm again. The mycelium slows its growth almost to nothing. It stops sending up mushrooms, stops expanding outward. It pulls its energy inward, maintaining only what's essential. Like a bear in hibernation, breathing slowly, heart rate dropped, existing in a state between waking and not waking. This isn't death. This is wisdom. The mycelium knows that winter is not the time for growth, not the time for fruiting or spreading. Winter is the time for rest, for conservation, for gathering strength in preparation for spring's demands. Beneath the snow, the earth retains warmth, not much but enough. The soil doesn't freeze as deeply as the air, and in that slightly warmer layer, the mycelium persists. Threads of life running through the darkness, not doing much, not trying to do much, just being, just continuing the most basic version of existence. There's something beautiful about this acceptance of seasons. The mycelium doesn't fight winter, doesn't try to grow mushrooms in the snow, doesn't rage against the cold or wish for spring to hurry. It simply acknowledges what is and adjusts accordingly. Growth now would be wasteful, so there is no growth, only patience. Imagine having that kind of wisdom, knowing when to push forward and when to rest, when to be productive and when to simply maintain, when to expand outward and when to pull inward. The mycelium doesn't need a calendar to tell it these things. It feels the cold, senses the shortened days, and naturally, without struggle, it shifts into its winter state. You have seasons too, times when energy flows easily and growth feels natural, and times when everything is harder, when you're tired, when forward motion feels impossible. Our culture often tells us to push through these times, to maintain the same pace year-round. But the mycelium teaches something different. It teaches that rest is not failure, that slowing down is not weakness, that sometimes the most intelligent thing you can do is stop trying and simply maintain. Wait, trust that the season will change, because seasons always change. And when it does, you'll be ready, rested, restored. The snow above the mycelium acts as insulation. It keeps the ground underneath from getting as cold as the air. So in a way, the snow protects the sleeping mycelium, covers it like a blanket, keeps it safe while it rests through the hardest months. What blankets do you have? What protections? What allows you to rest deeply when you need to? Maybe it's the walls of your home, the support of people who love you, the knowledge that you don't have to be productive every moment of every day. That rest is allowed, expected, necessary. The mycelium in winter isn't anxious about spring. It doesn't lie awake worrying whether it will know when to wake up, whether it will have enough energy, whether it will be able to grow again. It simply rests, trusting in the ancient rhythms that have guided it through thousands of winters before this one. You can trust those rhythms too, the ones in your own body, the ones that tell you when you need to sleep, when you need to slow down, when you need to stop producing and just exist for a while. These rhythms are as old as mycelium, as reliable as the seasons. You don't have to understand them or control them. You just have to listen and respond. Right now, as you rest here, you're like the mycelium in winter, slowing down, pulling inward, not because something is wrong, but because this is what rest looks like. This is what your body knows how to do, how to conserve, how to restore, how to exist in a state of minimal effort while still being fundamentally, essentially alive. Your breath is like the slowed metabolism of winter mycelium, gentle, barely there, just enough to maintain life, not trying to accomplish anything, not trying to go anywhere, just breathing because that's what living things do, slowly, peacefully, without effort. And like the mycelium, you don't need to worry about waking, about spring coming, about returning to activity and growth. That will happen naturally when the time is right, when warmth returns, when energy flows back into your system. You don't have to plan it or force it. You just have to trust it. The forest in winter is so quiet. Snow muffles sound. Animals are hidden. Even the wind seems gentler, moving through bare branches, without the rustle of leaves. And beneath all that quiet, the mycelium rests even more quietly, present but not active, alive but not striving, just being. Let yourself be like that now, present but not active, alive but not striving. Let your mind slow to the pace of winter mycelium. Thoughts moving so slowly, they're barely thoughts at all. Just occasional gentle pulses of awareness drifting through the quiet. You don't have to do anything right now. Don't have to grow or change or improve. Don't have to think or plan or worry. You're in your winter, your time of rest. And rest is sacred. Rest is necessary. Rest is what allows growth to happen later. The mycelium will wake when spring comes. When the earth warms and moisture returns, it will send up mushrooms and spread new threads and do all the things it does in seasons of growth. But right now in winter, it simply rests. And that rest is just as important as any growth, maybe more important. Feel yourself sinking deeper into this winter rest, covered by blankets like snow, warm enough, but not hot, comfortable, safe, allowed to do nothing except exist in this state of profound stillness. The mycelium knows that winter always passes, that spring always comes, that rest always gives way to activity when the time is right. It has no doubt about this because it has lived through countless cycles. It knows the pattern, trusts the pattern, rests into the pattern without resistance. You can rest into the pattern too. Stop fighting. Stop forcing. Stop trying to be in spring when you're actually in winter. Just accept this season of rest. Sink into it completely. Let it hold you and restore you and prepare you for whatever growth waits on the other side. Sleep now like winter mycelium, deep in the earth, covered by snow, perfectly still, perfectly safe, knowing without knowing that spring will come, that you will wake, that growth will return, but not now. Now is for rest, for the deep, dreamless sleep of winter earth, for the profound peace of life that has stopped trying and simply exists. Let go. Let winter hold you. Let the mycelium teach you how to rest so completely that even your cells slow down, even your thoughts drift away, until there's nothing left but the bare minimum of existence, the quiet pulse of life at its most essential, the peace of winter, the gift of rest. Sleep deeply now. Sleep like the frozen forest, like mycelium under snow, like all things that know how to wait. Look up. Not all mushrooms grow on the ground. Some live in a completely different world. The vertical world of tree trunks, the high world of branches reaching toward sky. A world where gravity pulls differently, and rain runs downward, and life clings to bark instead of burrowing into soil. These tree mushrooms are different from their ground-dwelling cousins. Many of them are woody, hard, built to last not just days or weeks, but months, sometimes years. They grow like shelves, jutting out from the trunk, like little balconies, like natural sculptures that the tree has produced, though really it's the mushroom doing all the work. You might see them on an old oak tree. Bracket fungi, they're sometimes called. Layers of them climbing up the trunk like stairs, each one a different age. The lowest might be years old, thick and tough and faded. The highest might be new edges, still soft colors, still bright. These mushrooms are performing a service, though it might not look like it. They're helping an old tree complete its journey, breaking down the wood slowly, gently, returning it to simpler compounds, preparing it to become soil again, to nourish new growth, to continue the endless cycle of forest renewal. The tree doesn't fight this process. It's old. It's had its time in the sun, decades, maybe centuries, of growing and living and making seeds. Now it's time to give back. And the mushrooms are the ones who facilitate that giving. They're not enemies of the tree. They're partners in transformation. Watch how these mushrooms grow. They don't rush. A bracket fungus might add just a thin layer each year, a ring of new growth around its edge, like tree rings but visible on the outside. You could count these rings and know how long the mushroom has been there, how many years it's been doing its patient work. Some of these tree mushrooms are beautiful in unexpected ways, pure white ones that look like they're made of porcelain, deep red-brown ones with a velvety surface, gray ones with intricate patterns on their undersides. Each species with its own aesthetic, its own particular way of being beautiful while doing the unglamorous work of decomposition. Birds land on these mushrooms sometimes, use them as perches. Insects burrow into them, creating homes in the soft inner layers. Moss might grow on their upper surfaces. They become tiny ecosystems themselves, not just decomposers, but providers, not just breaking down, but building up, creating habitat, offering shelter. There's something peaceful about seeing these mushrooms high on a tree trunk, about knowing they're there, working slowly visible to anyone who looks up. They're not hidden like the mycelium in soil. They're present, patient, doing their work in full view, but somehow still feeling private, still feeling like they're in their own world up there, attached to bark, surrounded by air. Imagine being one of these bracket fungi, holding on to vertical wood, feeling rain run over you and down, feeling wind, but never being blown away because you're attached so firmly, growing so slowly that seasons pass like breaths, adding your thin layer each year, participating in the long, slow dissolution of something that once stood tall and is now learning to lie down. There's dignity in this work. The mushroom doesn't apologize for breaking down the tree, doesn't feel guilty about being part of an ending. It understands that endings are necessary, that nothing lasts forever in the same form. That transformation is not tragedy, but continuation. Life becoming different life. Tree becoming mushroom, becoming nutrients, becoming soil, becoming the food for new trees. You're part of transformations too. Every day, cells in your body die and are broken down and recycled. Every experience you have changes you slightly, breaks down old ways of thinking, old patterns, and builds something new from the components. You're always partially decomposing and always partially growing, just like the forest, just like everything alive. The bracket fungus doesn't worry about this, doesn't fear being part of an ending. It exists at the boundary between what was and what will be, and it's peaceful there, stable, firm in its attachment to the tree even as it slowly dissolves that tree, holding on and letting go at the same time. Feel yourself settling into that same state, holding on to what needs to be held, letting go of what's ready to transform, not fighting either process, just allowing, just being present at the boundary between what you were and what you're becoming. These tree mushrooms teach us that you can be part of something's ending without being its enemy, that helping things break down is sacred work, that transformation is love in a form we don't always recognize. The mushroom loves the tree by helping it complete its cycle, by making sure nothing is wasted, by ensuring that all that growth, all those years of standing tall, become the foundation for future growth. Your own endings, your own transformations are held this gently too. Nothing is wasted. Nothing is lost. Everything you've been becomes part of what you're becoming. The mushroom knows this. The tree knows this. And somewhere deep inside, beneath thought and worry, you know it too. Rest now in that knowing. Let yourself be both the tree and the mushroom, both the thing transforming and the agent of transformation, both what's ending and what's beginning. It's all happening at once, all gentle, all natural, all part of the pattern that's older than memory. The bracket fungus on the oak tree isn't thinking about any of this. It's just growing its thin layer, just producing its spores, just existing in the perfect simplicity of doing what it was made to do. And you can exist that way too, not overthinking, not analyzing, just being, just continuing, just allowing the transformation to happen at its own pace in its own way. Look up at those mushrooms on the trunk. See how steady they are, how permanent they seem even though They're agents of impermanence. How beautiful they are in their functionality. How they ask nothing except to be allowed to do their work. And now, look down again, or close your eyes, or simply let your gaze soften until you're not really looking at anything at all. Let the image of those bracket fungi stay with you, peaceful, patient, attached firmly to something solid, even while facilitating its dissolution. You're attached to something solid too, to the earth beneath you, to the bed that holds you, to the breath that continues without your effort, to the life that flows through you, whether you notice it or not. And you're also part of transformation, always changing, always participating in endings and beginnings, always both mushroom and tree, always both here and becoming. Sleep now with that paradox held gently in your awareness. You don't need to resolve it, don't need to understand it, just rest in it, like a bracket fungus rests on its tree, firmly attached, peacefully working, part of something larger, part of the endless gentle cycling of form into form into form. The tree holds the mushroom transforms the tree, and both are held by the forest, by the earth, by the ancient pattern that needs no explanation. That simply is, that simply continues, that simply allows all things to be exactly what they are. Be that now. Be exactly what you are, held, transforming, at peace with both, resting deeply is the knowledge that everything is exactly as it should be, that you're exactly where you need to be, that this moment, this breath, this gentle dissolving into sleep is perfect, complete, enough. Mushrooms know time in a way we've forgotten. They don't check clocks or calendars. They don't count days or mark schedules, but they know with perfect accuracy when it's time to emerge, when conditions align exactly right, when the moment has arrived. Some mushrooms appear every spring, almost to the day. Same location, same week in April or May, year after year after year, as reliable as sunrise, as predictable as the changing seasons. They're responding to signals we barely understand. Temperature, day length, soil moisture, some combination of factors that tells them yes now. This is your time. Other mushrooms wait for autumn. They remain underground all through spring and summer, patient, unhurried. Then, when the air cools and the first rains come, they rise. Not because someone told them to, not because they're following a plan, but because their internal clock, calibrated over millions of years of evolution, tells them this is their season. There's a mushroom in Japan that people wait for every year. It appears in autumn after particular weather patterns. And when it comes, people celebrate, not just because it's delicious, though it is, but because it represents something larger, the reliability of nature, the way life keeps its appointments, the way the world continues its ancient rhythms, regardless of human chaos. Watch a fairy ring grow over years. That circle of mushrooms expanding outward. This year it's 10 feet across. Next year 10 feet and 6 inches. The year after 11 feet. Each year adding just a little more as the mycelium beneath spreads outward at its measured pace. You could use this to measure time, to mark the years. Some fairy rings are centuries old. The mycelium has been expanding in its slow circle since before your grandparents were born. Since before their grandparents were born, patient, steady, adding its few inches per year without fail. Time moves differently at this pace. A year is nothing. A decade is barely noticeable. But centuries, those mean something. Those create fairy rings dozens of feet across, mycelial networks that span acres, changes so gradual that only the very patient would ever notice them happening. The mushroom doesn't feel rushed by this pace, doesn't wish it could grow faster, doesn't compare itself to plants that spread more quickly or animals that move across the landscape. It simply grows at the speed it grows, trusts that this speed is exactly right for what it is. Your body has rhythms like this too, cycles that repeat daily, monthly, yearly. Your heart beats without your instruction. Your lungs breathe without your thought. Your cells replace themselves on schedules you never consciously set. You're full of these biological clocks, ticking away, keeping time in ways you don't have to manage. What if you trusted those rhythms more? Trusted that your body knows when to wake and when to sleep, when to be active and when to rest, when to grow and when to consolidate. What if you stopped trying to impose external schedules on internal clocks that have been keeping good time for millions of years? The mushroom never second guesses its timing. When it emerges, it emerges. It doesn't wonder if it should have come up earlier or waited a bit longer. It doesn't compare its schedule to other mushrooms. It simply responds to the conditions it senses and trusts that its response is correct. Feel your own rhythms now, the beating of your heart, the rise and fall of your breath, the slow wave of relaxation moving through your muscles. These things have their own timing, their own perfect pace. You don't need to speed them up or slow them down. They know what they're doing. Your breath doesn't need to match anyone else's breath. Your heart doesn't need to beat at someone else's pace. You have your own rhythm, your own internal clock, and it's perfectly calibrated for you, for your life, for this moment. The mushroom in spring emerges when it emerges. The mushroom in autumn does the same. They don't compete. Don't judge each other's timing. Don't worry that they're on different schedules. They simply trust that the forest has room for many different rhythms, many different cycles, many different ways of marking time, and so does your life. You don't have to do things when other people do them. Don't have to hit milestones on someone else's timeline. You have your own seasons, your own schedule, your own perfect timing that has nothing to do with anyone else's expectations. Rest in that knowing now. Let go of imposed schedules and external pressures. Let yourself settle into your own natural rhythm, the pace at which you breathe when you're not thinking about it, the speed at which your thoughts drift when you're not forcing them, the timing that feels right in your bones. The fairy ring doesn't apologize for taking decades to expand. The spring mushroom doesn't feel bad about coming up at a different time than the autumn mushroom. They exist in their own time, follow their own clocks, and trust that this is exactly as it should be. You can do the same. Can stop measuring yourself against other people's timelines. Stop worrying about being ahead or behind. Stop trying to rush processes that need time to unfold. Like the mycelium spreading underground, some things happen at their own pace, and that pace is perfect even when it feels slow. Think about all the things that have happened in their own time in your life, things that couldn't be rushed, that came when they were ready and not before. Friendships that developed gradually, skills that built slowly, understanding that dawned in its own moment. None of these things could have been forced. They emerged like mushrooms, when conditions were right, when the time had come, and things are still unfolding that way, still emerging in their own time. You don't have to force them, don't have to worry about timing, don't have to do anything except continue existing, continue being, continue allowing your life to unfold at exactly the pace it needs to unfold. The mushroom emerging from soil doesn't strain or struggle. It rises at the speed it rises, and somehow, miraculously, that speed is always exactly right. Fast enough, but not too fast. Slow enough to be sustainable, but not so slow that it misses its moment. You're rising at exactly the right speed too, growing at exactly the right pace, unfolding in exactly the right timing, not because you're trying to, not because you're controlling it, but because you're part of the same natural system as the mushrooms, the same ancient wisdom, the same perfect patient rhythm that has guided life on this planet for longer than we can comprehend. Trust that rhythm now. Let yourself sink into it completely. Stop measuring. Stop comparing. Stop worrying about pace or progress or timing. Just be here, breathing, existing, unfolding in your own perfect way, in your own perfect time. The mushrooms will return next season. The fairy ring will be slightly larger next year. And you will continue becoming who you're becoming, gradually, naturally, exactly as you should. In timing, so perfect you'll only recognize it looking back. Sleep now in that perfect timing. Rest in your own rhythm. Trust your own pace. Let time do what time does, slowly, steadily, carrying you forward without your effort toward everything you're meant to become. The mushroom never worries, and neither should you. Time knows what it's doing. Life knows what it's doing. Your body knows what it's doing. Trust them all. And sleep. Listen to a mushroom growing. Can you hear it? No, because it makes no sound at all. It pushes up through soil, breaking through the surface, unfurling its cap, and all of this happens in perfect silence. Not even a whisper, not even the faintest rustle. This is one of the most remarkable things about mushrooms. They live their entire lives without making a sound. No voice, no call, no announcement of their presence. They simply exist quietly, adding their silent presence to the world. Imagine how peaceful that existence must be. To move through life without creating noise. To grow and change and accomplish your purpose without any sonic signature. Just pure, undisturbed silence. The kind of silence that's become rare in our modern world, but that mushrooms have always known. But the forest, where mushrooms grow, is not silent. Far from it. Wind moves through leaves, creating whispers and rushes. Water trickles over stones. Birds call to each other across distances. Insects hum and click. Branches creak. Rain patters down through the canopy. The forest is full of sound, and the mushrooms hear it all. Or perhaps hear isn't the right word. Perhaps they sense it, feel it, experience it in ways we can only guess at. The vibrations travel through air and into soil, through the mycelium, into the mushroom's awareness. However, mushrooms are aware. When a deer walks past the mushroom, feels the footsteps, the slight compression of soil, the vibration rippling outward from each hoof. When rain falls, the mushroom feels each drop, thousands of them, millions, each one a tiny impact, a small message that water is here, that conditions are good, that life can continue. This is communication without sound, or rather, communication where sound becomes something else. becomes pressure, becomes vibration, becomes information that doesn't need ears to understand. The mushroom knows when animals pass near us, knows when weather changes, knows what's happening in its environment without needing to hear in the way we hear. And beneath the soil, there's another kind of communication happening, chemical signals passing through the mycelium, from mushroom to tree, from tree to tree, through the fungal network. This is language without words, without sound, without any audible component at all. Just molecules moving, information flowing, understanding happening at a level deeper than speech. Trees warn each other of insect attacks through this network, share resources during drought, support sick neighbors, all of it coordinated through the silent mycelium. The mushrooms are the translators, the messengers, the postal service of the forest, and they do it all without making a single sound. There is something profound about this silent competence, about accomplishing so much without any noise, without any announcement or celebration or fanfare. The mushrooms don't need applause, don't need recognition. They just do their work quietly, and the forest functions because of them. In our world, we often equate silence with absence, with nothing happening, with emptiness. But mushroom silence is full, rich, busy with activity that doesn't need to announce itself, presence that doesn't require sound to be real. Feel that kind of silence now. Not the silence of absence, but the silence of deep presence. You're here, fully here, aware, alive, but quiet. So quiet that if someone listened for you, they might think no one was there. But you know better. You know that the quietest moments are often the fullest. Your breath is almost silent, just the softest whisper of air moving in and out. Your heart beats quietly in your chest. Your blood moves through your veins without sound. All the most important things your body does, it does in near silence. Life happening without announcement. The mushroom teaches that you don't need to be loud to be significant. Don't need to make noise to matter. Don't need to announce your presence to be important. You can exist quietly, work quietly, live quietly, and still be exactly what the world needs. Think about all the things you do that no one sees or hears. The small kindnesses, the quiet work, the simple acts of existing and doing your part, like mycelium spreading underground, like mushrooms growing without sound. These things matter. These things are significant. Even if they're silent, let yourself sink deeper into this silence now, not straining to hear anything, not trying to make any sound, just resting in the quiet, the way mushrooms rest in the quiet forest, present, alive, functioning, but silent. The silence isn't empty. If you listen deeply, you might sense the fullness of it, the way the mushroom senses the forest, through vibration, through presence, through connection that goes deeper than sound. You're connected to everything around you, even in silence. Especially in silence, there's a different quality to communication that happens without words, without sound, a directness, an honesty. When the mushroom and tree exchange nutrients and information, there's no room for misunderstanding, no words to be misinterpreted, just pure exchange, pure connection. You can connect that way too, to yourself, to this moment, to the peace that's available when you stop filling silence with sound, when you let quiet be quiet, when you exist like the mushroom exists, fully present, fully alive, fully engaged, and perfectly silent. The mushroom doesn't miss sound, doesn't wish it could make noise. It's complete as it is. Silence is not a lack for the mushroom. It's not something missing. It's simply its nature, the way it moves through the world. And that's enough. More than enough. Your silence is enough too. You don't always need to fill space with words or sound. Don't always need to announce or explain or justify. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is simply be silent, present, like the mushroom in the forest, like the mycelium underground, working quietly, existing peacefully, contributing without fanfare. Feel yourself becoming quieter now, not just externally, but internally. Thoughts slowing down, becoming less verbal, less wordy, dissolving into something more like the mushroom's way of being. Pure presence without narrative, pure awareness without commentary. This is the silence the mushroom knows, the silence that's full of life, the silence that doesn't need to prove itself or announce itself, silence that simply is, complete, whole, perfect. Let that silence wrap around you now. Let it seep into you. Let it become you. You are the silent mushroom, the quiet mycelium, the wordless presence that needs nothing more than to exist, to be, to rest in the fullness of silence. The forest continues around you, wind in leaves, water over stones, birds calling. But you like the mushroom, remain silent, feeling it all, sensing it all, part of it all, but quiet, so peacefully, perfectly quiet. And in that quiet, there's everything, everything you need, everything you are, everything that's real and true and important, not in words, not in sound, but in the deep silent knowing that the mushroom has. The knowing that comes from simply being alive, simply being here, simply existing in this moment, in perfect, beautiful silence. Rest in that silence now. Let it hold you, let it fill you, let it carry you down into sleep as quiet as mushrooms growing, as silent as mycelium spreading, as peaceful as the forest at its most still, where everything is happening and nothing needs to be heard, where life continues in perfect silence, and that silence is enough, more than enough, everything. Sleep now in that knowing, that silence, that peace, deep and quiet and whole. Close your eyes and picture a mushroom. What color do you see? Perhaps brown, perhaps white, but mushrooms come in nearly every color you can imagine, and some colors you probably wouldn't expect. Pure white mushrooms pale as snow. They glow softly against dark soil, like small moons that fell to earth. There's something almost luminous about them, clean, simple, the color of fresh beginnings. And then there are the reds, bright scarlet mushrooms with their fairy tale appearance, deep burgundy ones rich as wine, coral pinks and salmon shades, each red carrying its own warmth, its own gentle intensity, not harsh or aggressive, just present, quietly vibrant. Yellow mushrooms brighten the forest floor, golden as sunlight, pale lemon, deep amber. Some look like they've captured sunshine and held it in their flesh, bringing light to shadowed places, offering warmth through color alone. The browns are perhaps most common, but they're not simple or boring. They're soft tan, like beach sand, rich chocolate brown, reddish brown like autumn leaves, gray-brown like aged wood, each shade subtle, each one perfect for blending with bark and earth and leaf litter. Blues and purples are rarer but no less beautiful. Violet mushrooms that seem almost unreal. Pale blue-gray ones that look like they belong underwater rather than on land. Indigo caps that catch the eye and hold it, colors that surprise, that make you look twice, and black, deep, pure black mushrooms, not threatening despite their darkness, just another expression of possibility, another way of being, dark as night, but somehow gentle, present without demanding attention. What's remarkable is how these colors fit into the forest. Even the brightest red mushroom doesn't clash with its surroundings. It complements, adds to the composition rather than disrupting it. Nature knows how to place color, how to balance, how to create harmony without trying. The colors aren't painted on. They come from within, from compounds in the mushroom's cells, pigments that serve purposes we only partly understand. Some colors might warn animals away. Some might attract insects that help spread spores. Some might protect against sunlight or help regulate temperature. But maybe some colors are just beautiful, just part of the infinite variety of life expressing itself. Not everything needs a reason. Sometimes beauty is reason enough. Watch how mushroom colors change over time. A young mushroom might be bright its cap, a vivid orange. As it ages, the color softens, fades to peach, then pale yellow, then cream. The aging is graceful, natural. The mushroom doesn't try to maintain its youthful brightness. It accepts each phase, wears each color with the same quiet dignity. There's something peaceful about this acceptance of change. The mushroom doesn't mourn its fading color, doesn't try to hold on to what was. It simply continues being what it is in whatever color it happens to be today. Yesterday's brightness and today's paleness are equally valid, equally beautiful. Think about the colors in your own life, the bright times and the faded times, the vivid experiences and the quiet ones. Like the mushroom, you contain all these colors. You've been bright, you've been soft, you've been every shade between, and each color was right for its time. Right now in this moment of rest, what color are you? Perhaps something soft, muted, the gentle gray-brown of evening, the pale blue of twilight, the quiet white of clouds before rain. Whatever color you are, it's the right one, the perfect one for this peaceful moment. Let yourself appreciate color without needing it to be vibrant. The mushroom's brown is as worthy as its red, the faded cap as beautiful as the fresh one. In the forest, there's no hierarchy of color, no judgment about which is best, just variety, just different expressions of the same fundamental aliveness. Imagine lying in a forest where mushrooms of every color surround you, white ones near your head, golden ones by your feet, a scattering of red ones to your left, purple ones hidden in shadow to your right. You don't have to look at all of them, don't have to appreciate each one individually. You can just rest in the knowledge that they're there, that color surrounds you, quiet color, gentle color, color that asks nothing of you. The colors don't compete. The red doesn't try to outshine the yellow. The white doesn't claim superiority over the brown. They coexist, share the same space, create a palette that's richer because of its variety. Each color makes the others more beautiful just by being itself. You're part of a palette too. Your particular color, your particular shade makes the whole more beautiful. You don't need to be brighter or different. Don't need to change your hue to fit in or stand out. You're already exactly the color the world needs, the color that completes the picture. Feel the colors settling around you now, not demanding your attention, not asking you to choose between them, just present, just offering themselves to your awareness if you want them, but also fine if you don't. Just being colored, just existing in their particular shades. Your breath can have color too. Breathe in pale blue coolness. Breathe out soft gray warmth. Or choose your own colors. Whatever feels right, whatever feels peaceful. Let each breath add another brush stroke to the picture you're creating just by resting here. The mushrooms don't think about their colors. Don't choose them or worry about them. They simply grow whatever color they grow. Trust that it's right, that it serves whatever purpose it needs to serve, that it's beautiful without needing to try. And you can be that way too. Can stop trying to be any particular color. Can just be whatever color you naturally are, right now, in this moment, without judgment or preference or concern. Just your own natural shade, your own gentle hue. Let that be enough. Let yourself fade into the softest version of your color, the most peaceful shade, the hue that means rest and release and letting go. Maybe it's the pale gray of fog, the soft brown of dusk, the gentle white of moths, the barely there blue of distance. Whatever color you are, let it fade now. Let it become lighter, more transparent, more like watercolor than oil paint. Soft edges, gentle transitions, no harsh lines, just one color bleeding gently into the next, into the next, into the darkness that holds all colors, that contains them all without needing them to be seen. The mushroom in deepest shade has color even in darkness, even unseen. It's still itself, still beautiful, still complete, and you're complete too, colored or colorless, bright or faded, visible or hidden in shadow. Rest now in whatever color you are. Let it soften, let it fade, let it dissolve into the gentle darkness of sleep, where all colors are at peace, where the palette of the world continues, but you don't have to see it or be part of it, or do anything except rest. The mushrooms will keep their colors while you sleep, will continue being red and white and brown and purple and gold, and you can let go of color entirely, can sink into the colorless peace of deep rest, where nothing needs to be seen, where everything can just be, without hue or shade or brightness, just being, just resting, just drifting into sleep as soft as the palest mushroom, as gentle as the most faded cap, as peaceful as all colors becoming one in the darkness that holds everything, that needs nothing, that simply is. Sleep now, in whatever color, in no color, in the space beyond color, where rest lives, where peace waits, where you belong. Long before laboratories and prescriptions, people knew about mushrooms that heal. In forests around the world, in cultures separated by oceans and centuries, humans discovered that certain mushrooms could ease pain, could reduce fever, could help the body remember how to be well. This knowledge wasn't written down at first. It was passed from grandmother to granddaughter, from healer to apprentice. Quiet knowledge, shared in whispers, tested over generations. If a mushroom helped people remembered, if it harmed they remembered that too. Slowly, carefully, they learned which mushrooms were allies in the work of staying alive. In ancient China, certain mushrooms were so valued they were reserved for emperors, called mushrooms of immortality, though of course they couldn't truly grant eternal life. But they could support health, could help the body stay strong, could offer gentle assistance to the immune system and organs working hard to maintain balance. The reishi mushroom, growing on old trees, was collected and dried and prepared as tea. People drank it slowly, letting its compounds work gradually through their systems. Not a dramatic cure, not a sudden healing, just steady support, like a friend who stays beside you through illness. Not fixing everything, but making the journey less lonely. In European folklore, other mushrooms were known to help with wounds, with infections, with the countless small injuries and illnesses that were simply part of being human and alive. People made poultices, dried mushrooms into powder, learned through trial and careful observation what worked and what didn't. Then in the early 20th century, a scientist named Alexander Fleming noticed something odd. A mold, a type of fungus, had contaminated one of his bacterial cultures, and around the mold, the bacteria had died. This accidental observation led to penicillin, to the first modern antibiotic, to medicine that has saved countless millions of lives. A mushroom did that, or rather, a fungus did. This humble organism that grows on old bread, that appears on forgotten food, that most people would throw away without a second thought. This ordinary fungus contained extraordinary power, the power to fight infections that had killed humans for all of history. There's something profound about that, about healing coming from such an unexpected source, about the earth providing what we need even when we don't know we need it, even when we're not looking for it. The mold was always there, waiting to be noticed, waiting to offer its gift. And mushrooms are still offering gifts. Modern research continues to discover compounds in mushrooms that support human health, that reduce inflammation, that help with anxiety, that support the immune system, that might even help with serious diseases we're still learning to treat. But mushrooms heal in a different way than conventional medicine. They don't force, don't overwhelm. They work slowly, supporting the body's own healing processes rather than overriding them. Like the way they grow patient and steady, mushroom medicine works at a gentle pace. This kind of healing requires patience, requires trust, requires allowing the body time to respond and adjust and find its way back to balance. It's not for emergencies, but for chronic conditions, for general wellness, for the slow work of maintaining health over years. Mushroom medicine offers something valuable. Imagine your body being supported that gently, not pushed or forced, not shocked into change, but quietly encouraged, patiently assisted, given what it needs to do its own work of healing. The mushroom doesn't heal you. It helps you heal yourself. There's wisdom in this approach, in recognizing that the body knows what to do, that healing is built into us, that sometimes we just need gentle support, a little help, a reminder of our own capacity for restoration and renewal. As you rest here now, you can feel that capacity within you. Even in sleep, your body is healing, repairing small damages, clearing away waste, renewing cells, balancing systems, all without your conscious effort, all naturally, all following patterns older than human memory. The mushroom teaches that healing doesn't have to be dramatic, doesn't have to be fast, doesn't have to involve struggle or force. Sometimes healing is just rest, just time, just allowing natural processes to unfold in their own way, at their own pace. Your body is healing right now, as you breathe, as you rest, as you let go of tension and worry and effort. This is healing too, this quiet restoration, this gentle return to balance. And you don't have to do anything to make it happen. It's happening because you're alive, because life wants to heal, because that's what living systems do. The mushroom growing in the forest doesn't try to grow, it just grows. And your body doesn't try to heal, it just heals. When you give it what it needs: rest, time, peace, absence of stress, the conditions that allow natural processes to work. Feel that healing happening now, in your muscles relaxing, in your breath deepening, in your heart rate slowing, in the countless subtle adjustments your body is making to bring itself back into balance. This is the gift the mushroom understands: that healing is natural, that the earth provides what's needed, that we're supported by forces larger than ourselves. The mycelium beneath the forest floor is always working to heal the ecosystem, breaking down toxins, clearing away what's finished, preparing the soil for new growth. And your body has its own mycelium, its own networks working constantly to maintain health, to clear and cleanse and restore. Trust those networks now. Trust your body's ancient wisdom. Trust that healing is happening even when you can't feel it, even when you can't see it. Like the mycelium working underground, your healing works in darkness, in silence, in ways you don't have to understand or control. The mushroom offers its healing compounds freely, doesn't ask for payment or praise, just grows and contains what it contains. And the earth offers healing freely too, through rest, through time, through the simple gift of being held and supported while your body does what bodies do. Let yourself receive that gift now. Let yourself be healed gently, slowly, in the mushroom's way. Not forcing, not rushing, just allowing, just resting, just trusting that your body knows what to do, that healing is happening, that you're supported by the same earth that grows healing mushrooms, that provides medicine in the most unexpected places, that takes care of its own. You are the earth's own, and the earth takes care of you with every breath, with every moment of rest, with the quiet, patient healing that happens when you stop fighting and just allow, when you trust, when you rest like a mushroom rests, confident that growth and healing will come in their own time, in their own way. Sleep now in that confidence. Let healing happen while you rest. Let your body do its quiet work. Let the medicine of peace and time and trust work through you, gently, slowly, completely, until you wake restored, renewed, healed in ways you might not even notice, but that your body knows, that your cells remember, that the ancient wisdom within you celebrates in silence. The mushroom heals, the earth heals, and you heal too, just by being here, just by resting, just by allowing life to do what life does best: take care of itself, take care of you, with the same patient love that grows mushrooms in dark forests, that sends up healing gifts from soil, that knows without thinking how to make things whole. Rest now, heal now, be held now, by the earth, by your own body's wisdom, by the quiet certainty that healing is happening always, even now, especially now, in this perfect moment of rest. The future is being grown right now, not in laboratories or factories, though some of it happens there too, but in quiet places, in soil, in darkness, where mycelium spreads and mushrooms emerge with solutions we're only beginning to understand. Scientists have discovered that certain mushrooms can clean polluted soil. They can absorb heavy metals, break down toxic chemicals, transform poison into something harmless. The mycelium spreads through contaminated earth like a gentle cleanser, working slowly, patiently, doing what humans struggle to do with all our technology. There are mushrooms that can digest plastic. Imagine that. These fungi can break down the bottles and bags that take hundreds of years to decompose. They eat petroleum products, turn them into nutrients, transform what seemed permanent and harmful into something that returns safely to the earth. This isn't science fiction. It's happening now in test sites and research projects around the world. Mushrooms are cleaning up oil spills, absorbing radioactive compounds, making poisoned land fertile again. Not quickly, not dramatically, but steadily, reliably, in their own quiet way. And people are learning to grow materials from mushrooms. Not just mushrooms to eat, but mushrooms to use. Mycelium can be grown into shapes, dried into forms that are strong and light, like styrofoam but better, biodegradable, compostable, gone completely within weeks instead of lasting centuries. Packaging made from mushrooms, insulation, even bricks. Imagine building a house from materials that grew in darkness. That came from the same process that makes mushrooms fruit in forests. Walls made from mycelium, strong enough to last for years. But when they're no longer needed, they return to Earth without leaving any trace. There's something beautiful about this, about solutions that work with nature instead of against it, that don't create new problems while solving old ones, that come from life and return to life. The mushroom way, the patient way, the way that's worked for millions of years. Some researchers believe mushrooms could help feed the world. They're rich in protein. They grow quickly. They don't need sunlight or vast amounts of water or prime agricultural land. They can grow in darkness, in small spaces, on waste products from other industries, turning what we throw away into food that nourishes. This isn't about replacing all food with mushrooms. It's about having options, about resilience, about not depending on systems that deplete and damage, about working with life's processes instead of against them, about remembering that the earth already knows how to sustain itself. We just need to pay attention. The mushrooms aren't announcing any of this, aren't holding press conferences or demanding recognition. They're just growing, just doing what they've always done. Breaking down, building up, transforming, and humans are finally noticing, finally seeing the potential in these quiet organisms we've overlooked for so long. There's hope in this, not the loud, aggressive hope of revolution, but the quiet hope of evolution, of gradual change, of solutions that work because they're working with natural patterns, with processes that have been tested over geological time, with the wisdom of organisms that have survived every extinction event, that have outlasted species that seemed invincible. Mushrooms don't fight, don't conquer, they transform, they adapt, they find ways to thrive in conditions that would kill most other organisms. And now, as we face challenges that seem overwhelming, perhaps the mushroom way has something to teach us about patience, about working with what is, about transformation instead of domination. Imagine a future where buildings grow, where packaging disappears harmlessly, where polluted land heals itself with the help of fungi, where food grows in darkness efficiently without depleting precious resources, where solutions are quiet, natural, as patient as mycelium spreading through soil. This future isn't fantasy, it's emerging, slowly, the way mushrooms emerge, not all at once, not with fanfare, but steadily, inevitably. Because it works. Because it's aligned with how life actually functions. Because it's the mushroom way. And the mushroom way has worked for hundreds of millions of years. As you rest here, you can feel that same patience, that same quiet certainty. The future will come the way mushrooms come, in its own time, at its own pace, not rushed, not forced, but inevitable, because the solutions are already there, growing in the dark, spreading underground, preparing to emerge when conditions are right. You don't have to worry about the future. Don't have to force it or control it. You can trust that solutions are growing, that life knows how to heal itself, that mushrooms have been solving impossible problems since before humans existed, and they'll continue after we're gone, patient, persistent, quietly transforming everything they touch. Feel yourself relaxing into that trust, into the knowledge that the earth provides, that nature has answers, that sometimes the best thing we can do is step back, pay attention, learn from organisms that have been here so much longer than us, that know things we're only beginning to understand. The mycelium spreads through future soil, through present soil, through all the time that doesn't really exist except as this moment, always now, always growing, always transforming, and you're part of that transformation, part of the future that's being quietly grown, part of the solution that's emerging. You don't have to do anything dramatic. Don't have to save the world single-handedly. You just have to be like the mycelium, present, patient, doing your small part, connecting to others, working quietly, trusting the process, knowing that countless small actions, repeated patiently over time, create transformation that seems miraculous, but is actually just natural. The mushroom teaching us about the future is really teaching us about the present, about being here, about working with what is, about transformation instead of revolution, about patience instead of force, about trust instead of control. And as you drift towards sleep, you can carry that teaching with you, can let it settle into your dreams, can rest in the knowledge that the future is being grown by forces that don't need your worry or your control, that work best when we step back and allow, when we trust, when we rest. The mushrooms are growing solutions. The earth is healing. The future is emerging from darkness, the way mushrooms always have, quietly, patiently, inevitably. And you can rest in that knowing, can sleep in that certainty, can let go of future anxiety, because the future is being taken care of by mycelium, by mushrooms, by life that knows what it's doing. That's been doing it forever. That will continue long after you wake. Sleep now in that trust, in that quiet hope, in the certainty that mushrooms teach. That transformation happens, that problems are solved, that life finds a way, always, especially in darkness, especially when we stop forcing and start allowing, especially when we rest and let the growing happen. Let the future emerge. Let the mushrooms do what mushrooms do best. Transform everything, quietly, patiently, completely, while you sleep, while you rest, while you trust. The future is growing, and it smells like earth, like mushrooms, like hope, the quiet kind, the kind that lasts, the kind that works, the mushroom kind. Sleep now. The future can wait. The mushrooms have it covered, and you like them can rest in darkness, growing, changing, preparing to emerge. When the time is right, when conditions align, when you're ready. Not before, never before, only exactly when you should. The mushroom way, The patient way, the way that works. Rest, grow, transform, sleep. The future is already happening, and it's gentle, it's quiet, it's sure, like mycelium, like mushrooms, like you, resting now, preparing, being, enough. A mushroom's life is brief. It emerges from soil, opens its cap, releases spores into the air. Days pass, maybe a week or two. Then it begins to soften, to collapse, to return to the earth that made it. This isn't sad. It's just the pattern. The mushroom came from soil, and it returns to soil. And in that returning, it gives everything back. All the nutrients it gathered, all the energy it held. Nothing is lost. Nothing is wasted. Everything continues. As the mushroom breaks down, it feeds the very soil it grew from, enriches it, makes it more fertile. So the next mushroom, the next plant, the next tree has more to work with. The ending of one becomes the beginning of another. Not someday, not eventually, but immediately, constantly. The cycle never pauses. This is how the forest stays alive, not by things lasting forever, but by things completing their cycles, growing, living, dying, feeding new growth, over and over. An endless exchange where nothing is ever truly lost, because everything transforms into something else. The mycelium underground continues even after its mushrooms collapse. It might produce more mushrooms next season, or the season after. It's patient. It knows there's no rush. It has time, all the time, because it's part of a pattern that transcends individual existence, part of something that continues regardless of whether any single part of it is currently visible. Think about what this means. That endings aren't really endings. That death isn't a stopping, but a transformation. That what looks like loss is actually just change. The mushroom that fed a deer, that spread its spores, that enriched the soil, that accomplished everything it was meant to accomplish, that mushroom hasn't disappeared. It's just changed form. You're part of this cycle too. Everything you are came from somewhere else. The calcium in your bones was once in rock. The iron in your blood was forged in a star. The water in your cells has fallen as rain countless times, has been ocean and cloud and river and snow, has passed through countless beings before reaching you, and everything you are will continue after you, will transform into something else, will feed new life, will participate in cycles you can't imagine. You're not separate from the mushroom's pattern. You're living it right now. Every breath you take, you're exchanging molecules with the world. Every moment, you're both becoming and dissolving, both gathering and releasing. There's deep peace in understanding this, in knowing you're not fighting against change, but flowing with it, that you don't need to hold on to anything because nothing can actually be lost. It all continues. It all transforms. It all remains part of the great cycling that mushrooms have always known about. The mushroom doesn't fear its collapse, doesn't try to prevent it. When the time comes, it simply releases, lets go, returns. And in that returning, it completes something beautiful. It fulfills its purpose, not by lasting forever, but by participating fully in the cycle, by taking from the earth and giving back to the earth, by being part of the flow rather than trying to stand apart from it. You can release like that too, can stop holding so tightly, can trust that what you give will matter, that what you release will nourish something, that your participation in this great cycle is valuable not because you last forever, but because you're here now. because you're part of the pattern, because you're doing what living things do, growing, existing, and eventually letting go. As you rest here tonight, feel yourself part of this cycle, part of the great returning and emerging. You're resting now the way mushrooms rest underground, the way mycelium rests in winter, the way all living things rest between periods of activity. This rest is necessary, sacred, part of the pattern, and when you wake, you'll emerge renewed. Like a mushroom after rain, you'll rise into another day, another cycle, another turn of the endless pattern, not because you have to, but because that's what life does. It continues, it cycles, it transforms and returns, and emerges again. Tonight you've traveled through the world of mushrooms, through forests and soil, through silence and color, through time and healing, through all the gentle lessons these quiet organisms offer to anyone who takes time to notice them. The mushrooms will still be there tomorrow, growing in their patient way, spreading through soil, connecting trees, cleaning earth, feeding animals, being beautiful without trying, existing without urgency, living the way they've lived for hundreds of millions of years. And you'll be there too, part of the same earth, part of the same pattern, part of the same endless cycle of growth and rest and transformation. You and the mushrooms, not so different, after all, both growing from soil, both returning to soil, both participating in something larger than yourselves. Let that thought comfort you now. Let it ease any worry about endings, any fear about change, any anxiety about what comes next, because the mushroom knows, and you can know too, that there is no real ending, only transformation, only continuation, only the eternal return to earth and emergence from earth that defines all living things. Feel the earth beneath you now. Feel how it supports you, holds you, waits patiently for you, the way it waits for everything. Not demanding, not rushing, just being there, solid, reliable, the source and the destination, the beginning and the end that aren't really beginning or end at all. Just the eternal now of earth being earth. You can rest completely in that knowing, can let go of everything, can sink into the earth's, embrace the way a tired mushroom sinks at the end of its brief life, gratefully, peacefully, knowing that this is right, that this is how it's meant to be, that there's nowhere else to go, because you're already home, already held, already part of everything that matters. The mycelium spreads through dark soil, the mushroom returns to earth, and you drift into sleep as deep and peaceful as the forest floor, as complete as any cycle, as perfect as anything that knows its place in the pattern and rests in it without question. Thank you for walking with me through the world of mushrooms tonight, for listening to these quiet stories, for letting these gentle beings teach you what they've always known about patience and transformation, about cycles and connections, about the beauty of existing without urgency, about the peace of being exactly what you are exactly, where you are exactly when you are. Let these lessons stay with you as you sleep. Let them seep into your dreams, like water into soil. Let them become part of you the way nutrients from decomposed mushrooms become part of new growth. Take what serves you. Let the rest dissolve. Trust the process and sleep now, deep and easy, like mycelium in winter, like spores waiting in soil, like the forest itself at midnight, everything at rest, everything at peace, everything part of the great cycle that needs no understanding, that simply is, that simply continues. that holds you now and always. The mushrooms are sleeping too, resting underground, dreaming mushroom dreams, if mushrooms dream, or simply existing in that peaceful state between emergence and emergence, between rising and returning, between all the cycles that make up a life, and you exist there too now, in that peaceful between, that restful darkness, that warm earth, where everything that was and everything that will be don't matter, because right now there's only this, only rest, only the gentle dissolution into sleep, into peace, into the endless patient earth that grows mushrooms and you and everything else, that takes everything back, that transforms everything, that loves everything by simply being what it is: solid, patient, eternal, home. Sleep now, dear one. Sleep like the mushrooms sleep, deep in the earth, held by darkness, waiting for nothing, needing nothing, complete. The cycle continues. You rest, and that's enough. More than enough. Everything. Good night.